I said so long, carry on, 'cause the devil wants to take me for a ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get Your Act Together with Mike Bain. Thanks for listening. On this episode, I have a great guest, a comedian, content producer. What do you? I was trying to think of.
I do everything.
You do everything, but what do I call someone who is like an OnlyFans actress?
An OnlyFans creator.
An OnlyFans creator. Jamie Lee.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on, Jamie.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. No, I've wanted to get you on for a little bit. Also, by the way, first lady we've had on the show.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like I'm one of the dudes, so I don't know if it can.
Well, so here's the thing. I actually have a decent amount of female listeners, and they listen to me talk about relationships and men and women all the time, and then they gripe that I don't have a woman on to discuss it with. And I understand where they're coming from, but I won't put someone on the show just because they fill a demographic.
Yeah.
I'll put them on because they're interesting, and I genuinely thought you were interesting.
Thank you.
And it's funny because Facebook has been trying to get me to friend request you for like forever now.
Really?
Yeah, but I'll never friend request a comic if I haven't met him in person.
Yeah, I always feel weird about that because then I'm like, they know I know them, and then I'm afraid to go talk to them.
Yeah, it's like I've had people friend me and then not talk to me at shows.
Yep. And
I assume you as a girl in comedy get a lot more friend requests than I do. I know I've heard many stories.
It's like 50 a day.
Yeah?
Yeah, just from random comics all over the country. It's not even here, and I don't know how they find me.
I don't either.
I think it's because at one point when I was just starting, I add everyone. I love networking, so like it's all about who you know for opportunities. So I was like, I'll add everyone, and they can watch what I'm doing. But then now it's like anytime someone friends requests me, it's like 153 people in common, but they're comics from like East Bumfuck. So I'm like, how? I think it's just because there's mutuals.
Probably. I mean, there's a lot of dudes who creep too. I mean, that's part of it, let's be honest. Because I saw you and I go, all right, who's this thick chick on my feed? Obviously, the internet knows what I search, all right? It's not like Facebook already picks up on plenty of my likes.
Busty redheads with a fat ass.
but the fact that I'm on the internet going, I love thick bitches, is naturally going to be picked up by Facebook, so I shouldn't be surprised. And then I look through your stuff and I go, oh, you're interesting. And I was like, I got to have you on the show.
I'm glad I have a personality too.
Thanks for I wouldn't have had you on if you didn't, because I just can't talk to boobs for an hour. There's more to someone than that.
Yeah.
Plus, I realized you had some depth. I saw some of my own trials and tribulations in you. And so, when did you start stand up?
July 2019.
All right.
So
See, that's
fairly
why
new.
I knew you had been newer because I was living in New York for a couple of years. And I left Boston. I had never met you. And I was like, I know everyone in the Boston scene. And then obviously like a bunch of people started right after I left.
Mm-hmm. So I actually just moved to Boston from New Hampshire in past March, like mid-March. So
what was up in New Hampshire?
I got a sales job. So I was struggling working like 3 jobs when I first got out of college, and I knew that wasn't going to cut it. And so I was like, I need to do something where I'm going to make like a lot of money. So I worked my way up in a company to get into the sales team. And I got denied because I had no previous sales experience because I was going for like high ticket jobs, very young. And they were like, no. I got denied from every job opportunity. But one person, I like went up. I was like, I'm Jamie Simmons. I'm going to be your best fucking rep.
Yeah.
And he gave me a chance, but it was out in New Hampshire. So they were like, hey, you got the job, but you have a month to like pack your shit up and come here. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I had $100 in my bank account and said, fuck it. And it was like the best decision of my life. It took me out of the worst hole. So as much as I literally told myself I never would live in New Hampshire. Like, what the fuck's in New Hampshire? But I'm very glad that I did.
This is so funny because due to COVID, New Hampshire became my promised land also.
Because they had everything still open.
I had to leave New York because I lost both my careers due to the lockdowns. And I went to stay in New Hampshire as I have family up there. And I was like, oh shit, this is like nice. And I've only lived in the city my entire life. I've never lived in the burbs. I was like, I could never do that. And I was up there and I was like, oh fuck, I could get used to this. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a terrible place to date, but it's You know, it's
I'm a New Hampshire like 12, and the men there like have pictures of like dead animals on their profiles. So.
I matched with a girl on Tinder who had a picture of like a dead deer and a fish she caught. But she didn't want anything to do with me. And I was like, I've been looking for a fish girl this whole time. Because every girl I've gone on dates with in New Hampshire tells me, they're like, oh, you're one of the few guys I see who doesn't have a dead animal in your pictures. And also it's very, I go up the scale too as a man in New Hampshire because I read, I don't beat women, things like that.
Very uncommon.
Yeah, it's like.
It's very sad. I would go to the bars and I would like scan, and there would be weeks where I would go without seeing a single person that I was sexually attracted to. Let alone like having like an actual like conversation and being attracted to somebody that way. That was even harder.
You don't get down with the camo? That's not what does it for you?
No, I'm not an outdoorsy girl. I mean, I can be, but like, why?
Well, you can see it doesn't even, a lot of those dudes aren't even outdoorsy. Cause I would talk to them. I would hike all the fucking time. And it's just like how in Boston, I don't appreciate Boston shit because I grew up here. Mm-hmm. I've never done the Freedom Trail, but every tourist who comes here does it. And I go to New Hampshire. I'm like, God, dude, I just hiked Mount Whiteface. Like, where is that? And I'm like, you live here, asshole. What do you mean, where is that?
I don't know. I never got to be outdoorsy because I was always working, like even from a young age and then through college. So like I never had that like fun or like free time phase. And so now that I'm older, my like enjoyment comes out of like my work. And so especially the weekends, like I'm dead because those are what like late nights, either I was bartending or you're doing comedy or whatever it is. I'm not going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go hiking. Have I done it? I've been hiking a bunch. I've been tuna fishing. I do like stuff like that, but is it like a hobby? Hell no. And so I don't want somebody who that's their whole life.
Yeah.
Because they will not like me. I'll be like, you have fun. I'm gonna sleep in. And
you don't have to go with them though. I mean, like
True.
I'm very much against that whole the relationships where people like do stuff together. You know, like
I like a girl who just comes over and fucks me, does her own thing later, and I can go hang with the boys.
No, but you gotta have independent hobbies. I don't want to be in the same friend group all the time.
Yeah.
I had this. I've been in codependent relationships, and I remember talking with a girl I dated, and she just wanted to spend time with me, but all the time with me. And I go, don't you ever get sick of my fucking face? And she goes, no. Do you get sick of my face? And I go, yeah, I do actually. I love you, but sometimes I get sick of your face. Like right now, I need some space.
Yeah, I need my freedom. I'm that type of person. So like I'll see somebody if I'm dating like twice a week and then I'm doing my hobbies. You can come to a comedy show here and there or like support me, but like I also don't want you at every open mic that I'm doing every night or like something like that.
I loved that my girl never wanted to come to my shows. It was my favorite because she was a bug scientist. She was an entomologist. She would go into the woods and hunt for moths. And I was like, you go do your thing. I'll go do my thing. And then we'll come home and be together. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's my ideal relationship. How did you get from sales in New Hampshire to OnlyFans?
Oh goodness. So, well, I mean, I got into comedy as a hobby. And so the OnlyFans OnlyFans was a means to monetize like what I wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to be like a stand-up comedian. I knew that I also wanted to live like the influencer life. But I'm not one of those girls who like takes pictures of their outfits and they're like, look what I ate today. Like, no one gives a fuck. So,
a lot of people
which is how they do, and they make really good money.
Yeah.
Not my thing. So I'm like, how do I monetize me just being a fucking degenerate? And so, basically I was dating somebody and I had moved in with them and their family and child. So like,
this sounds like an amazing living situation.
Yeah. You know, I take risks. I'm really smart. So no, I've learned from my past. Okay. So basically a week into living with each other after he had me throw out all of my furniture and like kitchen stuff, cause there was this long-term plan, he's like, I made a mistake and I don't think I can do this. And I was like, I'm gonna go fuck myself. And within 4 days, moved to the city. I was like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of New Hampshire now. Like, why am I gonna stay here? There was nothing for me to grow there. So as this happened, the pandemic was like really going into effect. People were like, okay, we're about to quarantine for the month of April. So I'm thinking like, shit, this is going to be a scary situation. I have no money. I'm moving to, because I had no money because sales wasn't doing well. Even though I was selling a lot, I had so many cancellations because of the pandemic. I worked with small and medium-sized businesses selling them digital marketing. So no one is spending marketing budget when their business is not even open.
Yeah.
And so I was trained and in marketing and everything that I learned, like to look at the market and what's happening and be able to predict 30 to 90 to even 180 days out ahead to like what to prepare for. And I thought that this was going to be a lot longer than what they were proposing. And so I just had to take a good hard look of like my job and where I was at, and what I wanted to do. And I was already hating my job. They basically tried to get me to sign an NDA for 14 grand to quit, to shut my mouth about some stuff that went down there. They violated my employee rights. I was a top sales rep for 2 years, won President's Club in a row. And because of the first month, they tried talking to me about my performance. I just think that they didn't like that I was an outspoken woman and I had a new manager at this point who I just started with in January, and we did not have the same vibe. So I was like, I fucking hate this company. They're treating me like shit. I'm not making the same amount of money, and they want me to work 10 times harder to make less money. I'm fucking miserable. I also just went through a breakup, a very difficult one, and moved to a new state, like without knowing anyone. Like, what am I going to do? And my girlfriend at the time was like, why don't you start an OnlyFans? I started one like a month ago. I made $700 and I literally did like nothing. She was like, you have like 5,000 followers on Instagram, which is where I was at the time. Like, I feel like you'd be able to make like $1,000 or $2,000 that could help you. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do that. I won't post anything like nude or anything like that. I'll do more like lingerie photos or like me twerking in the camera, like something that I'm not going to post on Instagram, but that people would pay for. And I had built this really big, not big, but like strong audience. So the people that did follow me were messaging me all the time. I built like relationships with people and they wanted to get to know me. And I was starting to get to the point where I was like, I don't have it in me to message all these people. So now this is a way to like connect with fans. I was starting to like do stand-up comedy. So I also saw in my head, well, there's no stand-up comedians or not a lot of women stand-up comedians on this. So then I could be the girl who's like the comedian on OnlyFans. And so I saw that marketing potential and I was like, I got nothing to lose. Fuck it. I'm single now. My first week, I put like 6 photos up. I made $6,600.
Shit.
And then I was like, so like from March 15th to April 1st, I made $7,800 total. And I was like,
you weren't showing any nudity.
I showed my tits, but
all right, so you don't.
I
show
showed
your
my
pussy,
tits
right?
for paid messages. I actually didn't even have my boobs out at all on my page. So yeah, no boobs, no anything. April comes, I make 20 grand without showing anything, and I was like, I guess I'm quitting my job, and I just said fuck it. I like chose myself. I took a risk, and ended up like leaving and resigning from the company, rejecting their money. And
so you didn't sign the NDA?
Fuck no. That was my only corporate America job, like company, and I'm a stand-up comedian. I want to be a speaker. Like eventually, I'm not taking away my chance to tell my story. Yeah, no one's gonna take that away from me. Yeah. And $14,000 for the things that they did, I could get a hell of a lot more money. And I still don't know if I'm gonna be pursuing legal action with the state. So I could get a lot more. But yeah, that made me do OnlyFans.
I was going to say, you must get bombarded by messages on Instagram in like the guest folder, because I get a lot of them and you have way more followers than me and your followers are a lot more lecherous than mine. Although I will get like very pervy gay dudes who hit me up and are like, dude, you're so fucking hot. And I'm like, buddy, you work at a car dealership in New Jersey. And every once in a while, like some Filipino guy will write me like an eloquent essay. And it's like,
I love those. Those make me happy.
They actually do. I was having a bad day and this gay Filipino flight attendant wrote me something like, your eyes are a gateway to the beauty of your soul. Like,
oh my God.
I was like, oh, like, dude.
It feels good.
I kind of want to let you suck my dick just for this essay that you wrote me because you made me feel so good about myself.
I feel like sometimes the strangers in my DMs are like my favorite people. Like there's this one guy, and probably every other day, he'll post a story about me and he'll be like, the beautiful one and only Jamie Lee Comedy, and just shares my posts and my content. And that's it. And then he'll message me, hope you have a great day. Like, you're a queen. And he's not like too much where it's annoying. And then he started doing it to my friends. So he starts like supporting my friends' Instagrams. And everyone's like, wait, you know Lorenzo Spencer or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. But I used to get like hundreds of DMs. I get hundreds of DMs a day in general from like all my platforms, but on Instagram I would get a lot. And that's where I came up with like my Down in My DM series, because I was just like, before I did OnlyFans, like my comedy was sexual in nature. I'm very comfortable with my sexuality. So that people slide in my DMs thinking that like I'm slutty. So they'll be like, let me stick it in your ass. And so I was like, I'm just going to trash these dudes. But ever since I started trashing the men that were in my DMs, I started getting reported. And now I'm highly shadow banned. And so I don't get a ton of DMs at all because I don't think anyone's seeing my content. So I'm not even being shown on their feeds.
Why do you think you got shadow banned?
Because I like was literally posting men's messages with their usernames, making videos, calling them out. I'm like, you want to message me and be fucking disgusting? I'm going to call you out. And it was made for really good content.
Yeah, it does.
But it pisses a lot of people off at the same time. And so people were reporting me. I also did, I think this summer was when I started making like different types of comedy content. I had a video where I sang like The Little Mermaid, like, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? And I was talking about my sex toys, and I'm like whipping out anal beads and dildos, and immediately got like removed. And then I made this like pizza promo video where I'm like, I have pizza pasties on, I have underwear that says pizza slut, a giant pizza, like, I don't know. I literally dump pizza sauce on my titties while I shake it. This was my like OnlyFans. I was trying to make a comedy OnlyFans promo.
Well, you've definitely cornered the market for like greasy Italians who love their women in red gravy.
Well, all the OnlyFans girls are making promo videos. I was like, oh, I'm a comedian. I want it to be funny while like with a hint of sexy. But I was using music, and every time I tried to upload it, Instagram would take it down. I've gotten like 8 notifications that my account's about to be deleted. So that's why I made my new account, because it's a struggle. But yeah.
Do you have better luck with TikTok? Do they ban your shit? Because I've had shit. They've banned my shit. They once banned a video of me where like I had my shirt off and like they said there was nudity in there. And I was wearing a wig, and I go, I'm not actually a fucking woman, dude.
Oh my God.
It's not.
But that's the fucked up thing, is they'll let men literally stand up and they'll be like, look at my shorts. And then there's like dick outline. But I did the dildo video, the Ariel dildo video, that got removed a bunch. Anytime I talk about sex, anytime I mention anything, then I started coaching girls on how to make money on OnlyFans. So I was like, let me monetize my marketing knowledge that helped me scale and just sell a webinar.
Well, how much money did you make for the year on OnlyFans?
$100,000.
Can you teach me how to do OnlyFans?
Yeah, I have a webinar, and it's 3 hours long, and I literally teach you how to like launch your profile, how to set it up, how to maximize every subscription, like how to market yourself.
Because I've worked so many jobs, and that's over double.
All you have to do is jerk off for gay dudes.
I know, but it's like, I know that's how it works.
And honestly, you doing it will not have any impact on your career as much as it would have me on my career. Do you know what I mean? Like, being a dude on it, there's so many comedians. People think it's funny. It's not like it doesn't. People don't have the same perception of a man on OnlyFans than they do like girls.
You think so?
Yes.
I disagree.
There's so many Boston comics that I have heard talking on their podcast trashing OnlyFans girls, and will turn around and talk to me. My friends on their own stories. I got hate. I lost friends. My job did end up finding out before I quit. Like, it was part of the reason. So like, it's caused a lot of like corruption in my life. But I'm also like the type of person that people are like, aren't you scared about that? And I'm like, fuck it, there's gonna be another opportunity around the corner. Yeah. But it has severely impacted like just how people look at me, and you have to be okay with that. But I don't notice the same conversation. It's always about OnlyFans girls. It's never about guys on OnlyFans when people are discussing OnlyFans. So,
I forget that there's even dudes on there.
And there's a lot.
I've criticized like the OnlyFans itself. I don't blame anyone for making money on that. And that's more my criticisms of society, because we live in a world that's materialistic and money-driven and consumeristic, which I think fucks up, gives us the anxiety and the depression, the stress that we deal with, and we get trapped in this money game. And for the lower people in society, how do you get up? How do you move up, make money when you don't have privileges? For a woman, it's sex in her body. And for a man, historically, it's violence. We become soldiers or cops or mercenaries or hitmen. And I don't like a situation where that's like your only option to get up. But if that's someone's option, I'm never going to knock anyone for making money or trying to make themselves.
Well, I think a lot of people look at OnlyFans girls too, and they think, literally, there was a Boston comic who was like, OnlyFans girls are not forward thinking. I just like remember that line. And I was like, it's so funny because the only reason I got into it was literally because I read the market and I predicted what was going to happen. And the OnlyFans wasn't big at that point. The reason I made 20K is because everyone was in lockdown. I planned for that. Everything I did was planned out. Business-wise, I started an S corporation, and like everything's legal. I'm using that to like start another business now where I'm coaching. Like there's people look at it as like a way out, or you have to turn this, or it's like not a good thing. Like there's still this like connotation behind OnlyFans that you're doing something that's like not okay for society and that you're not like a business person. But I think that there's a lot of people on it. I mean, not everyone's doing it for that or using it that, but like I took that money and I started investing it. I created a company. Like I want to have investment properties. Like there's goals behind it, you know, and
wants to be fucking broke forever.
Exactly.
In a world
and if I got to shake my ass while I'm young and hot, like so be it. Like no one's judging like, I don't know, like famous actresses for having sex scenes. Well, you know what I mean?
Kind of
like
what they've done is they've denoted OnlyFans to sex work, where originally I thought everyone on OnlyFans was getting fucking railed. I didn't realize that you could go on and do whatever you want. And over time I was like, oh, so this isn't just straight porn, because I don't think porn is all that healthy for people involved in it. But if you want to, I'm all about if you want to do it. Or people consume it. But like, have you ever seen True Detective?
No.
There's a line in that show where one of the actors he's at a brothel, he's a detective, and he's talking to a young girl, and he goes, "You shouldn't be doing this." And the madam goes up to him and she says, "The reason guys like you don't like this, like prostitution, our industry, escorts, is because it means you don't own it the way you think you own it." And a lot of guys, I've never understood. I've never understood why guys get so, like guys, like, I wish girls wouldn't play games. But then when she's like, when a girl's like, hey, especially like a real working girl is like, this wants to fuck me, or if you want to see this. Because I've known sex workers. I've known girls that are strippers and hookers and escorts, or however they want to be called. And, it's, I think dudes don't realize that they're just fucking people. Well, and it's a job.
I was being a woman in comedy who talks about sex, who's also attractive. Like that was already like, people thought I wasn't going to be funny or like things like that. And then they were like, okay, because you're so open about sex and you're talking about it, now I can talk to you any way that you want. Now that you're put into this category. So like the comments that I got from guys, the DMs, like the people talking about me when I heard things, like I was so sexualized. And I was like, if I'm going to deal with this every single day, like that one goes
so this was before OnlyFans.
This is before OnlyFans.
So why not just fucking do it?
I was like, you know what? Fuck all these people. I'm going to take your money now. So like, you can call me a slut all you want, but you just paid my bill. So thank you. And like, you're sitting at home still jerking off to my shit, and I'm sitting pretty. Like, because, and like, so I, it got to the point where I was like, fuck this. Like, because men wanted to like own me. And when I denied them before even OnlyFans, like because I was open about my sexuality, it was an instant like anger, like fuck you, you stupid slut. Because they didn't want to be denied. So they felt like they had this like ownership. And now it's like, no, I do OnlyFans. I'm in control. You want to DM me? You can message me on OnlyFans. You want to see my ass? You're going to pay. I've only shown my like pussy like 3 times. And that was this year.
Oh, wow.
And mass, like, yeah.
Did you charge premium
I
for
charged
it?
$100 for a fucking picture, head down, like, to here. And I'm just standing straight.
I've sent my dick pics out for nothing.
Yeah, and I got like, a cute little pork bun pussy, so, like, you can't see anything.
Wait, what the fuck is a pork bun pussy?
I don't know. It's like, it's neat. And so like so you can't see anything. So I charged $100.
Is that how you marketed to Chinese dudes as a pork bun?
Oh my god. Yeah. So I sold a video of my vagina for $100.
I've been
for like
showing
2
my
minutes,
shit for
and
free.
It's literally you can't see anything. My face isn't in it, nothing. I made $3,000 in 2 days. So like I'm strategic about when I show it, But so many guys message me. They're like, what the fuck? Like $100 to see your fucking pussy? I can like see stuff on Pornhub for free. And I'm like, yeah, you can, but you can't see mine.
Yeah.
And so, and you're mad that I get to choose my worth.
Can't.
Now you don't get it for free. Now I get to pick the price. Now I get to tell you what I'm worth. And if you don't fucking like it, then you don't get to see it. And being able to take that power back by like with OnlyFans, I can see why girls do it. And it's people are like, oh, it's not empowering. It is, because we've never been in control of our bodies or how people view it or whatever. How many people have sent nudes for free?
Me.
Like everyone judging OnlyFans has sent a fucking nude. You're just mad I'm getting paid for it.
I wish dude, if I was getting paid $100 for every time I send a dick pic, I'd be a fucking millionaire. But also, it's not even nudes.
I literally, there's certain guys that I message. I'm like, listen, you little fucking bitch. You're gonna send me $50.
Do you FinDom?
I do everything. So I'm like, you're gonna send me $50.
That's
I'm gonna
financial
go on a date.
domination for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, my biggest seller is JOI videos. So I jerk off instruction videos. So I'll literally just talk dirty into the camera.
Guys love those now.
I don't even have to take my clothes off. I literally look in the camera. I talk dirty and like.
Do you do ASMR?
No.
You should.
But that makes me so much money. I charge $25 for 2 minutes of me talking dirty. That's insane.
That's like more than celebrities make on that Cameo app.
Like $25 for 2 minutes.
Even have to. You're just talking about sex.
And the weirder like the kinks are, the more they're willing to pay.
Oh, I'm aware. I've been propositioned by dudes I sold my socks to a dude once for $75, and then he hated my socks. So
really?
Yeah, fucking wrote me an essay, said these are the worst socks I've ever paid for. I will never do business with you again.
What was wrong with your socks?
I don't know. I wore them for a week. He said he wanted stinky socks, and then I give them to him, and he's like, it's terrible. He definitely it was outside South Station, so I left.
Well, you met him in person?
Yeah, I had to meet him. It was fucking awful. This was way back before OnlyFans was out, and you used Craigslist and shit, and gave him the socks, and he gave me $75 and 2 scratch tickets, which is the most terrible Boston thing ever. And he's like, oh, it's nice to be a normal person. I go, don't you pretend like this is normal. This ain't fucking normal. Not you, not me, nothing about this. I don't want to see you, you weirdo. And it's like, but I'm not, I didn't want to be like, all right, whatever. You're paying for your shit. And then he must have sniffed them immediately because he wrote me an essay saying these are the worst socks I've ever fucking paid for.
Maybe he just didn't like your scent.
I think so.
That's why I will never sell my underwear. That just makes me so uncomfortable. But so many girls do that.
Fuck it, whatever. I'm done with him. He was gonna pay for new socks every time. I was like, I was broke. I needed the fucking money. It's funny you said something earlier about dudes feeling like they own you, and this is a mistake men make. I think it's a fundamental ego mistake that we make, and it's negative just as much for us as it is for women, because dudes get encapsulated in this mentality of she's my woman, she's mine, and you always have to, in the back of your head, and this isn't easy to do, but accept the fact that whatever your girl has done with you, she's done for someone else. You're not the only one who's made it to this special place.
Yeah.
All right. Other dudes have. Other dudes will. And long after you've gone, someone else is going to give it to her just as much as you did. So we had to get, when a guy does that, he builds up his ego so fucking much that he makes himself weak in the process. And also, he fucks up his relationship potentially too.
I think when you can bring up women and you can support women with what they do, that makes you much stronger as a man and much more alpha and macho, that people want to play. A lot of guys would message me, and anytime that I tried to decide my worth, they would get angry. They would flirt with me and do their thing, and I'm like, oh no, I don't do that for free, or hey, you can talk to me here. And then it's an instant well, fuck you, because they think they want it to be an intimate experience too, DMing me, and they want it for free. Not so much that they feel like they own you, but they feel entitled to the opportunity to see you, as if because they gave you attention or they called you pretty or they message you some nasty ass shit, that you're just gonna be like, sure, here's my vagina. And that's not how it works. And so anytime women try to hold boundaries, that upsets a lot of men. And when you add the whole point of adding money to it, well, no, now not only am I setting a boundary, but now you have to pay for it. That just takes that whole mindset a step further. And so I've gotten really scary messages from guys. I've had people know where I live just because I made them pay guys get mad if you don't give them the right custom and they threaten to leak your stuff.
Custom?
So you send private messages to people that they can pay for, or you can do custom. So I have a menu like the JOI videos that I do. I have a menu that says, here's how much it costs for how long. Here's what I'm open to talking about. Send me like the tip or whatever. So like the menu. So like someone can order like, hey, I want you to call me a sissy little bitch. And or like
a la carte,
or be like, hey, you're gonna do this for mommy, whatever it is. They like tell me their like story that they want me to like say in these 2 minutes.
Do you get a lot of feet dudes?
No, none.
Really?
None.
Wow.
Which is, I'm so surprised. I'm kind of pissed about
so
it.
many fucking.
And I got
dudes.
cute ass feet. So like, I'm like, why don't you want to see these? These look nice, and I always have a pedicure. So
dudes do love the emasculation.
No, but I got a butt, so I just think I automatically attract
butt people.
So I get a lot of like. Some guy has me talk about my dirty little shithole. and he's like, I want you to like sit on the camera and like bend over and be like, yeah, you smell that dirty little shithole? You're gonna shove your nose in my dirty little shithole?
Is this Odell Beckham?
And I get that request very often. I get asked to fart all the time. I don't do that. I can burp on command. I can't fart. There's
so many more dudes now into incest and like scat than there's ever been, I feel.
Incest?
Do you ever notice? So I've always been super open about liking sex and sexuality and being a sexual person and using it as a deviant for many parts of my life. And I'm open about that. And I would be open about it on stage. And as you would get like guys come up to you, I would get nerd dudes who don't get laid who would like treat me like shit, or you're just a fucking fraud. And I'm like, I'm not saying this to impress anyone. I'm saying it because it's my life. I'm also like, I'm not all of this is good sex, dude. A lot of these are horrible situations where I fuck a girl and I'm like, what am I doing? Or I wake up or I sober up in like a flop house somewhere outside Worcester and I'm just like, oh God. And then I have to drive home for an hour in shame, just like, it's not all glorious. It's just there's a lot of people who grew up in the internet age who don't know how to interact with the other sex, or people in general who are just so outside of the realm of how to interact with someone. Yeah. Is that, dude, it's not that, like in New York City, I'd meet comics. I'm like, they're all on stage like, I can't get pussy. And I'm like, well, you're not going to with that mindset. Yeah. And also, dude, this is the easiest city to get laid in the world.
And honestly, like, if somebody's at a comedy show, like if you're a comedian, you also don't have to be attractive. You got a person. Most of them have personalities. If you're unattractive and you're trying to be a comedian and you also don't have a personality, then honestly, there's probably still someone that's going to fuck you because you got on stage and like that shows confidence. You just have to have confidence. Like, you know what I mean?
Just being confident. Also, no one who becomes a stand-up comedian was attractive as a kid. None of us were like the pretty kids in school. I was a fat fuck. You had a bowl cut?
Yeah. You want to see? I can pull it up.
I'll put it up after.
I got made fun of a lot. I got kicked out of the bathrooms when I was a kid, like the girls' bathroom.
For being a tomboy?
Yeah, I played baseball till I was in high school. I had a bowl cut. I would be in the girls' bathroom. People were like, ew, get out of here. So yeah, it was a rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, no one comes into this profession because they had a happy childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very
now
open.
I got a vibrant personality.
I'm very open about that it's like, I'm dating now, and I'm like, fuck, it's tough to date normal people because sex with you is going to be super boring and just kind of boring altogether. As like, it's great that you've had a happy childhood, but you're not going to let me tie you up.
There needs to be something that's like deep inside you that you need to like release during that time. And if you haven't been like abused by your mom or dad, like I don't want it.
I'm in this shit position where I got to find someone who's overcome their abuse, but I either find someone who like is still dealing with it. And I'm like, ah, shit, you came over my house high on acid at 3 a.m. I can't do it. And like, I meet those girls and I love them and they're great, but I'm at a point in my life where I go, oh, if you're still getting fucked up, you can't fuck with me.
Yeah.
Because like when you're younger, it's exciting. I'm not going to pretend like there isn't something exciting about being with someone who's just off the rails. And, you know, I've stayed in terrible relationships because the sex was good. Like I talk with married dudes who are like, I haven't had a blowjob in 10 years. And I'm like, I get one every day. Has my girlfriend threatened to burn all my shit? Yes.
First of all, why are you married to someone who's not blowing you every day?
There's
better people out there.
This is such a commonality. I've had this talk. So
a woman who doesn't give BJs, if they're getting head too, okay, if the man's making them come.
Yeah, as long as they're both taking part.
Yes. You're a poor excuse of a woman.
So
if you don't give head,
I agree with you.
You like, how do you expect to be pleasured? I had a girl who dated my best friend in college. He went down on her and he made sure that she was taken care of all the time. That was like who he was. And I knew it. And she would literally be like, no. And we sat her down as a group of friends and we were like, hey, it's getting so bad that you're not blowing Dan. Like, we're going to make him break up with you if you don't start blowing.
Do you think that that maybe that contributed to it, is that he gave her everything she wanted and didn't demand something?
She literally goes, I'm a selfish lover. And if anyone ever said that to me, I would be
break
like,
up with him.
Oh
yeah.
my God. I'd be like, selfish lover. Okay.
But that's cycling into that relationship is if Dan puts up with it, if you
just say you're bad at giving head without saying you're bad at giving head.
if you let someone walk on you, they fucking will. So it's most people, I was going to say, most people are in these sexless situations because they allow it to happen. Yeah. And it's like, dude, just fucking leave. I know it's scary being alone at first. Change is always scary. But if you want to be healthy, you got to fucking change.
I'm abstinent. Yeah, I'm trying to be. It's been months. It's been a while. And even this past summer, like I had sex maybe 5 times since last March, like individual times. And it was just like a decision that I made because I needed to heal. And I was like, I'm not going to heal if I'm like trying to find that validation outside of me. And so, yeah, it's, people need to like, I sunk in the feeling of being alone, genuinely being alone. And I honestly had horrible sex before. And I feel like the next time I fuck somebody, it's going to be good because I'm going to make the right decision about knowing that they're good. You know what I mean? There's going to be the chemistry there. I'm not going to fucking talk to somebody who I think is bad and can't be open about sex like me. So like, yeah.
That's funny. I was just telling Rob, everyone knows Rob, my dudes of Rob, before about how I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to delete all my dating apps. Because, so at the start of the pandemic, I went through a lot of shit. I lost a family member. I lost someone else. And it was just, I lost both my careers. I was like, oh, this is the worst year of my life. And then 2021 happened, and now it's even worse because my dad's dying. I might lose my family home.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm laughing, but I didn't hear the dad dying part.
It's, you think I don't fucking laugh about it? Because the other thing is, I'm just going to be depressed about it. So I don't want to be that.
Listen, we can be in the Dead Dad Club together.
Hey, he's an alcoholic. It was always going to happen. If you abuse alcohol in your family, eventually it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And I was like, I want stability and eventually a family. And I also realized...
It's not from Tinder.
Well, I know, but I don't drink anymore, so I can't meet girls in bars and clubs. And those are all... Because it's like, I don't...
So my thing for that, and something that I've had to do, and I think majority of people in general in the world do not do this. When you fill your own cup, like naturally, like people will like come to you and be attracted to you.
Yeah,
when people watch
That's
you
true.
doing your thing and you're building your empire or you're pursuing your hobbies, one, you're going to be so happy and self-fulfilled that you're not seeking it elsewhere. And then you're going to be put in positions where you're meeting people who who are one at your level now. Like if you're growing and you're trying to be on a dating app, like the level that people are on, they're never going to meet you. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like, I don't know. I was trying to date so much before, and like for past breakups, that time could have been used to go on a hike or read or whatever, or do comedy. And so when I started like fully going into myself, naturally I noticed like more quality people were coming and like talking to me. And also I learned like my standards. Because I wasn't like in this dating scene and like fucking people like constantly where like I was ignoring red flags. I got so good with know what I wanted because I was like making myself happy. If somebody wasn't going to meet me the way that I'm meeting myself, then it's not worth it. So when you're doing that, like naturally people will come to you.
No, that's
and I
very
think
true.
people are really afraid of that. They don't want to be alone. So like, I don't know. That's why I'm like okay with not being on dating apps.
That's something I
trying
tell.
to talk to guys or.
I tell MGTOW guys. You know what MGTOW is?
Mm-mm.
Men go their own way. It's kind of like, it's like dudes that are like, fed up with women. So they kind of become abstinent. And they're like, I'm just done with women. I'm going to improve myself and be a best version of me I can be. And I go, I know, but that's how you meet women, dude. When you get your shit together and you're that's what being alpha is handling yourself and taking care of the people in your life who you're responsible to and being the best version of you can be.
Yeah.
Then women want to be around you. They didn't want to be around you because you were a sorry sack of shit.
Yeah. Also, though, like when I went out this summer, and I know it was COVID, I was not COVID conscious. I partied all the time. Just gonna get that out there before people start hating on me.
Don't worry. I went to fucking Colombia. I was out and about the whole fucking time.
Yeah, well, it was the first time, though, that I was like, I'm not going to date or try to fuck people or, like, even try to talk to people. I went out with, like, my best friend at the time, and she would talk to guys, and I would just kind of be, like, the friend that came along. I wasn't the one making plans, and I just got to, like, observe everyone, and I noticed, like, myself catching, like, hot guys that I normally would have been like, oh, I'm going to try to talk to them tonight, or I'm going to try to, like, flirt with them and try to like slide in their DMs or whatever and see if I can fuck them.
You slide in DMs?
Oh yeah, I'm so aggressive.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care at all. I'll comment like, but I try to do like in a funny way.
Well, is this because you usually don't like the guys that are coming to you?
Yeah.
So basically, the guys that you're going after, they're going to want.
For me, I've been in sales for like the past 3 years, and now I'm in the sales of myself, and so I just think always being able to start a conversation and meet people and through social media, I don't know. There's been times where I've literally commented on dudes like TikToks, and now I'm friends with a bunch of guys from TikTok, not even in a way where either of us are hitting on each other, but it started out with me obviously being like attracted to them and like making a comment like "Daddy chill" or something like that on their page. Well, they follow me back.
It's pretty easy to befriend a man when you call him daddy. I'll be honest.
I'll say like fucked up shit too. Like I just say weird things to guys or like I don't like compliment them or whatever. If a guy's like dancing and there's like a shower in the background, I'll be like, that looks like a nice shower head. or like, wow, the laundry in the back looks really nice. Like I just like will say random shit that like just puts me in front of them. Mm-hmm. And then they do the rest of the work.
I do that to women.
Yeah.
It's like when I would try and pick up girls on the train or in New York City, it's like this girl's been hit on a million times today. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm not going to compliment on something that is just her. Like, hey, you have pretty eyes or something, because she's been told that a million times. Yeah. What I will comment on is something that she's chosen about herself. Like, I really like those shoes. You're like, what? And I go, oh, those. And sometimes I'll say, I just walk away. Yeah. Just to practice, just to continually talk to people. So I'm ready to talk to people and not bothered by meeting new people.
Or I would ask a question. I'll be like, me and my girlfriend, we're we need to tell, I don't know, we're in a conversation and a fight about what's better, pineapple on pizza or barbecue chicken pizza, and I need to know your answer. And
you don't have to do that.
I'll say like random shit at the bars. I go off and or I'll challenge dudes to squat them at the bars while I'm drinking. Oh, really? And every time it ends up with them asking for my number, I'll be like, hey, you buy someone buys the round of beers, whoever loses, if I can squat you right now, like you'll buy me drinks. And they're like, fuck yeah, because they like think that I can't do it. And then I'll squat like a grown man, and they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah. And for some reason, like older dudes love that shit. Or I'll challenge guys. I'll be like, I challenge you to a beer chugging contest. Loser buys the round. It's not like, it's like flirty, but not. I feel like guys like challenges, and I always win. Or at least it just starts like a lighthearted conversation.
You could also just walk over and be like, I'm a pretty girl, buy me a drink. That works too.
It does, but it also puts you into that category. I'm like, anytime I approach dudes, they always tell me, they're like, no one ever approaches me like this. I'm like, that's the point, baby. Like,
yeah, no, it's a lot of girls don't. I respond terrifically to it. Like when a girl actually wants something, I'm like, oh, you already went up 10 fucking points in my book.
Well, in college, I did have a move, and it worked every single time. Yeah, and this was like the aggressive, like, I'm trying to fuck you tonight. So I would go to the bars, and there'd be people that you like make eye contact with all the time, you know,
and you can buy you a drink.
And but sometimes they never come up to you. You just like make that intense eye contact. So like at the end of the night, when I was ready to go home and I was trying to get laid, we'd make that final eye contact, and I would keep eye contact and walk straight over to them, like as I'm keeping eye contact, and then I would grab them by the face, and literally look them in the eyes and be like, "You are literally the most beautiful human being I've ever seen. I hope you have a great night." And I'd walk away. And every 9 out of 10 times they would grab my arm as I turned away, and they'd pull me and we'd make out, and they'd be like, "You trying to go home?" And I'd be like, "Yep."
Of course they would.
But I know, but listen, just
Who's
listen.
Gonna say no to that?
Exactly, but it works. So people were like, "How do you talk to guys?" I'm like, "You literally do." But like, no one is telling a guy like, they'll be like, oh, you're hot or like whatever, but no one's like deeply looking into your fucking soul. And so like there'd be people that I did it and we didn't hook up right away, but it planted a seed. And I remember a guy came up to me who was like a friend in ROTC, and he was like, you came up to the bar and then sometimes I get hammered and I forget who I did it to. So he was like, you came out to me and you like said I was like the most beautiful person you've ever seen. And like, he's like, you looked into my soul. He's like, I've been thinking about that for the entire week. Like, you made my day. Like, no one ever like compliments me like that. And no one's really like looked at me. And so people would like, I don't know. It would always work.
So you like to mind fuck them, huh? Like, not like, I don't mean mind fuck and like disturb them, but like,
I'm going to do something that you remember who I am.
All right.
So yeah, there's a way you can go up to any guy and be like, hey, you want to fuck? But that's not memorable. I'm going to make you want to fuck
Jamie,
me, but in a memorable way.
That's pretty memorable for most dudes. What do you think I wouldn't just be like, Rob, this fucking girl came up to me and said, you want to fuck?
All right, it's sliding in your DMs. Okay, you meet a girl on Tinder, you're messaging, you're bantering, and she's like, you want to come over? Like, let's watch a movie. That's not a fucking memorable person. You might not even remember them at all. So like, that's them saying, hey, you want to fuck? You know?
See, well, I remember like the weird girls. Like I matched with a girl and the first thing in her profile said, I collect dead things. And I go, fuck.
You're like, I like that.
Yeah, right away. I'm like, dude.
I like all the guys that my friends are like, they're a serial killer, right? Like, like American Psycho type dudes. Like, you get the vibe that they would murder you. And I'm like, exactly. It's the like teetering the line of death that turns me on.
So you feel better going through your phase of celibacy and just distance from dating?
I feel the best that I have ever felt. I feel the most grown. I feel like I actually like addressed a lot of the things that were keeping me back from having fulfilling relationships. Like I've been cheated on a lot, but I look back at those relationships and I don't just blame that person like for the relationship ending. I look at like, what kind of person was I to attract that type of person? Where was I mentally?
Wow, accountability?
Literally.
I mean, like, there's not a lot of women who fucking take accountability.
But there's not a lot
like
of people at all who
That's true.
It's very hard because once you start thinking this way and you're doing it for yourself, you're going to look around. And that's why when I said I stopped talking to guys when I was going out with the intention that I want to hook up with people, I was like, I'm just going to have fun and meet everyone. I started noticing all of these like red flags on people or things that I'm like, oh, that's a sign that I wouldn't have recognized because I was in the dating mindset. I wasn't picking me. And so now that I'm there, I can tell when someone's fucking full of shit and like easily. And I'm like, nope, not interested, because you know what that's going to get? I'm not going to sit here and try to get you to like me and earn your love because my fucking mommy and daddy didn't like me like I used to. Like, you know, and then now we're 6 months in a relationship. I move in with you and your fucking family and you kick me out because you want to get back with your baby mama. Like these are all things that I could have noticed. Like I look back and I'm like, what did I let slide? Why did I let it slide? Where was I mentally to not choose myself and know that somebody might hurt me later on? That's a fucking hard thing to like look at yourself.
Oh, I know, I've done
and realize. And so, yeah, I feel so fucking good. It feels so good to go to my bed at night by myself and know that I am being treated 100% with love and care because I'm giving it to myself. And so if somebody's not going to be top of the line and give me that, I don't fucking want it. So it's a very easy decision for me now. It took me 8 to 12 months basically to get to that point.
It takes a long time. That's actually pretty quick, Jamie, to be completely honest.
I'm a good healer. I'm always working through my shit. So it's,
I mean, I had similar situations where I went from toxic relationships and then afterwards I looked at it, and any cheating or anything that happened, I was like, oh, this is my fault. I allowed myself to be in this situation, and I allowed her to get away with what she wanted to get away with because my job was to be like, hey, these are the fucking rules.
Because the sex was good.
Yeah.
Or the highs and lows were addicting.
Yeah, it was codependent. I grew up in a household where my parents had a toxic codependent relationship, and I regurgitated that in my initial relationships because that was my understanding of the dynamic between men and women. I've never seen a fucking healthy relationship. I have to build one for myself. And so but it's on me. If I say, if I let her get away with certain stuff or disrespecting me, or I'm not fucking strong, then it's going to happen. Whatever happens is the shit I allow to happen. Because at a certain point, I need to say, this is the fucking rule. these are the rules, and I won't go past these. And if you can't meet them, then I'm fucking out.
But the thing is that I think learning boundaries for yourself is so hard. I've lost 4 best friends, like close girlfriends this past year for setting boundaries. And it caused a lot of drama between me and my friends because they knew me from the person who wasn't setting boundaries. So all of a sudden I'm setting boundaries. They're like, what the fuck? This version of you that I created is no longer fitting, and there's this disconnect.
Yeah, I can't fuck you over like I did before.
What people don't realize is even losing those friends, there was little things that were happening along the line that I was like, oh, it's little, like I'm going to let it slide. And you don't realize that 8 months goes by and those little things actually are part of a much bigger problem. And then that's like, even in relationships, like you break up, like someone like talks, if a guy like ever literally turned to me and disrespected me and called me a bitch or like, end, done, never talking to you again. Like, if you like are rude for no fucking reason, like just at that point, like these little things that you realize about people's behavior that seem little, they're really not.
No, they're showing you who they are.
They're showing you who they are. And so being able to set those boundaries and being like right off the bat, knowing what you're going to put up with and not put up with, it's a fucking lonely life, honestly. I'm a very lonely person in the sense of like, I don't have a lot of close people around me. I don't have a lot of like consistent long-term relationships in my life because as I've grown and healed through my trauma, I am like moving on through the people who are no longer serving me, who no longer are respecting me, who I realized never fucking gave a fuck about me in the first place.
It's better though to have a few people you trust and a lot of people that don't respect you or you can't trust. I've had these situations too where like I saw like a friend of mine at a wedding over the weekend, and she's a girl I used to work with in this industry, and she walked up to me and she kind of slapped me, right? And it was like done in a joking way, but I was like, what are you doing? Don't. And like she did it like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And I was like, she like as a joke, and I go, don't fucking do that. Like, and I was furious because she put, number one, she's like pushing 40. You shouldn't be acting like this. We're not in college. Number 2, they don't fucking do that. I don't like that. You also know I don't like that because I told you it took me forever to be able to let people like touch my face or hug me because I used to get hit as a kid. And so if anyone tried to come near me, I would flinch because I thought they were just trying to abuse me. And so she knows this. And I'm like, you know this and you're doing this, which means you're being a fucking bitch, okay?
I mean, she's not respecting your boundaries.
Yeah, but it puts you in a situation where I'm like, oh, either I have to blow up and be the angry guy who's, I look angry. I know what my face looks like. I used to be a very angry, hate-filled person. I went to therapy and now I'm happy. But I know what I look like.
I wish it was that easy.
It is if you put the work in.
It is. No, I know.
Like everyone's like, how'd you stop drinking? And I go, I stopped. Now it's not, and that like they're looking for some super method. I'm not saying it was easy. You just have to make
decisions.
It's not easy, but I stopped. Like what I just recently realized is, I'm trying to date, but I'm in a really fucked up point in my life. So who am I to try and, it's not fair for me to meet a woman and be like, hey, I'm trying to save my family. I got more on my plate than I've ever thought I could handle in my entire life. And I'm going to get through it. It's going to be a horrible year of my fucking life. But it's not fair for me to like try and I can't give someone everything right now.
Yeah.
Or who I really am without, and I've been critical of girls who did that to me. So I was like, you're being a fucking hypocrite, man. I've had girls come over and I'm very strict where I go, I don't care if you drink, but don't come over my place fucked up. Like that's not cool. I don't hook up with girls who are fucked up. Like I have a conscience, and it's why I don't go pick up girls in bars and clubs. And guys would always tell me, they're like, dude, just have a club soda and don't tell them. And I go, it's not about that, dude. I'm not afraid of them being like, oh, you're not drinking. It's me not wanting to sleep with intoxicated women when I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? And when I realized that I was like, oh shit. Yeah, in general. I mean, it's not like the amount of people who play that game.
There's so many people that play the game. It's more common than not because it's easier.
Well, so, all right, we skipped over, so I wanted to come back to this because you grew up in Mass, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm always curious. I feel like New England is very, I've talked about it a lot on the show, is a very sexually repressed place. I meet more people in sexless relationships and marriages here than I do almost anywhere. And more people are like adverse to kink, and that's fine if that's not what you're into, but like the shit, like I talk with people around here that they think is kinky in the grand scheme of kinky.
They're like, I pull hair, and I'm like, I thought that was vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? They're like, she called me daddy, and I'm like, So again, vanilla. Like, it's, yeah. I just think that's in general.
I think
people say they're kinky and they have no fucking idea.
Yeah, well, that's
kinky
true.
is.
I've been in that situation before where I was like,
that's also a reason I stopped having sex. I was having a lot of really bad sex.
well, it's tough because you have to. So I'm a dom, and my thing was always to be like, if you're not experienced with this, don't fuck with me. I don't come with training wheels. I'm very nurturing. I provide aftercare. I do the whole 9 yards. It's my responsibility to bring you down and nurture you after we get someplace crazy, you know, and to provide trust and a safe environment for you to want to do that with me. But if you tell me you're ready for this and then you're not, that's no fun for anyone, and certainly not me, because I don't want, you know, you to have a breakdown in the middle of sex.
Yeah, I thought I could teach guys what I was into, and then
why do girls think that? Girls
like,
always say that.
Well, because guys, some people are like super open. It sucks. I would connect with guys on every single level, like business, like mindset, like where we want to be in life. Even the sex, like normal vanilla sex, was like good. It was like decent, but it was never like that thing for me that I needed, and I knew. And for a while, I didn't put that first. I was like, well, I can settle for this. Because I wasn't fully like in tune with what I genuinely wanted to be happy, and it's that. And so not having sex has made it much easier too, because I'm like, now I know if I even like you as a person, but I can tell right off the bat like the kind of sex that you're gonna give, or will you even do it? Oh my god, so many guys don't eat pussy. So many guys are like, yeah, really? I fuck, and then it's literally like the most like boring thing I've ever experienced. I don't know.
I like being in New England because like the scale of good sex is so fucking low.
It's not.
It's so it's so.
And then
low.
in New Hampshire,
women are so used to just 5 minutes. It's insane, and I don't even mean that in a hyperbolic way.
No, because it's all the fucking like post-college frat boys. They hang out in groups of 5. They're hot. They got abs. No girls ever told them they're a fucking disappointment. So they walk around. They stick their dick in everything. It lasts 10 minutes. They like that's it, and that's all they experience because they're just like.
See, I had to get.
They like fuck pick-me girls, and
I had to develop a personality and a sexual acumen, because you know, when you're on the out as a young person, you figure out how to be a person. You know, like that's why I fucking, you know, I spent enough years getting the shit kicked out of me where I figured out I'm not gonna take shit anymore. So do you like when you talk to girls from around here? Do a lot of them turn it off as soon as they get in relationships? Because I know a lot. I've met especially like. When you're on a job site, like a blue-collar job site in Boston or Massachusetts, New England, every dude comes in and tells you about how he hasn't been laid in forever from his wife or his girlfriend. And I'm like, what is going on with everyone?
I don't know if... I think, okay, we're going to get deep. New England in general, we're very, like, hard people.
Yeah,
like,
extremely.
I think we're cold. I think the family dynamic was a lot of, like, power over kids. I think that's very common, like, in Boston in general. Like, my mom's Irish Catholic. She's fucking crazy. She needs to she drinks all the time. She needs to have control over her kids. Like,
your mom sounds like my dad.
Right? So then everyone has had some sort of fucking abuse. The Boston thing is shut the fuck up and deal with it. Yeah. Stop being a fucking pussy.
Don't be a fairy.
Yeah, exactly. Like my mom, anytime my brother cried or like whatever, she'd be like, "You're a fucking
what are you, gay?"
Pussy. Yeah, literally. Call him like the F word. I'm not gonna say it, but like, and I'm like, what the hell?
I've tried to explain this to people in other parts of the country, and they're always like, "What makes you Boston people the way you are?" And I go, "It's childhood trauma passed on generationally." And it's also
like, oh my god,
it's one of the few places where you like you're emotional as a kid, and your mom's like, fag. Like it's and so when that happens, that like love, like caring type of relationship isn't there. No one knows it. Like the idea of a family is not what it is in other parts of the country to even see what like communities like. So then what we do is we get into these relationships because no one healed their fucking shit. It's two broken people trying to settle. They're not really happy. Half of the people dating are not fucking happy. I don't see most 90% of people I see in this area, or I know in general, are not genuinely happy with their partners, and they're settling because they don't know anything else and they don't want to end up alone, and all they know is what their parents gave them. And so when you don't fucking like someone genuinely, you're just with them, you don't want to fuck them. You lose that.
When you are like genuinely passionately into someone, you're filling each other's cups, like you're bringing each other up. That's fucking hot. If you don't have a sex drive when you're doing that, like there's something else missing. But I feel like it's pretty hard not to when you have somebody who's like actually giving you what you're giving back and like pouring into your cup.
I've asked this question to a lot of people, and you're the only one who's given me like a real answer, and not just a
Exactly,
real answer,
because people
but
don't
a
fucking
genuine
know.
answer. Because you're absolutely 100% correct. I think a lot of people aren't in love with their partners. They're in love with the idea of marriage, or they're just scared shitless of being alone. And it is fucking scary.
I have my brother and sister. I have my roommate, and that's it. Like, there's no like outside family that I'm close with. I don't have a ton of friends. Like, it may look like I have a ton of friends online. And I settled in relationship after relationship that was not fulfilling, that did not give me the good sex that I wanted. It was just like, because I had no one. So my boyfriends were my everything. And like when I lost them, like I literally lost my foundation because I didn't have a foundation in myself. And there was no one else giving it to me.
Your own foundation.
So now I'm building my own foundation. And now I know the next person, we're going to have fucking dope ass sex. And we better have sex all the time because I'm not going to choose a partner that's like not on that same level. And so I think people just don't heal themselves and actually fully be alone, and they settle and with people they're not genuinely compatible with. And that's why the divorce fucking rate is skyrocketing.
No, you're right. You're right. A lot of people get in with someone who they're not in any way compatible with, and they're just trying to jam like a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
It's like I've had these conversations with people about like, oh, do you need sex with the person you're with? I go, of course. Why else would I be with you? You're the person, like obviously, other aspects of companionship, but the sex is the fucking foundation of it. It is, and I've had people try and make me feel weird about that.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like I've explained, I've tried. This is hard. This is a hard hill to get over in this part of the country, but I'm a spiritual person, and I grew up atheist. And the complete opposite of that. And I think it fueled into a lot of my nihilism and my anger and my hatred is this frustration of loneliness. Because when I thought that way, I was like, oh, it's just me and I fucking die. That's it. I'm alone.
I was an atheist too and had
at 13,
feelings.
My aunt was like, oh, Mike, it's your birthday. And I go, yeah, I'm just another year older. I'm like, who fucking says that at 13? Me. And then I realized, oh, human beings have energy. We have something. And when you meet someone and you tap into that shit, that's when you have those fucking powerful orgasms. Yeah. A lot of people are going around having weak ass fucking nuts.
But they're also fucking low vibrational people.
Well, yes.
I know I have great energy. I know when I love someone and I'm giving them my energy, I know people can fucking feel that. And I realized I was giving my energy and I was never getting any back or like high energy. I'd fuck people and feel shitty after. You know why you feel shitty after when you're fucking somebody? Because they're low vibrational. They're not doing anything good in their life. They party all the time.
The worst is when you feel shitty as you're fucking them.
Yeah, because you're like, wow, you're giving me all this bad energy and bad vibes. Like, it is an energy exchange.
It's so awkward too. I was getting head from a girl, and I was like, what is this? And it was so, I don't know, it was toxic. And I was like, have you never been with an uncircumcised dude before? And she goes, yeah, I have. And I go, oh. She goes, why? And I was like, I was just going to ask if it was your first time. But I was gonna give you some, hey, this is a new fucking area for you. You're going to figure some stuff out, and I'll give you the lessons so you don't hurt me, because I've been hurt by girls before. Because girls will talk a lot of shit about guys not knowing how to fuck around with pussies. But not a lot of girls don't know how to fuck around with different dicks. There's not.
I agree.
There's a lot of girls out there who I'm just like.
And different guys like different things with their dicks. And if you only know one, I've given head before, and what I literally made someone come this fast. Someone was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "You don't like that?" And they're like, "No, I prefer this." And I'm like, "That's so weird and so different." And I did you know what I mean? Like, people are very different. You have to learn their bodies, be able to know enough so that you can learn their bodies without even them telling you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know, because I've given women so much shit about this, is that they'll a lot of them will routinely shit on guys for not knowing how to find the clit or right away be great at eating pussy, but there's a learning curve. You got to remember when you meet a man, he's eating you out the way he used to eat out the last woman he was with.
Yes.
And her system doesn't work for you. Also, there's a ton of vaginal variation. Some girls got monster clits, like bigger than my pinky. Some girls got little fucking nubs that you got to go in and find. Some girls get innie pussies. Some girls get outie pussies. There's so much variation, and every woman thinks that each girl is just like her, and you're not.
Yeah, and being on OnlyFans, I do like dick ratings. So I've seen literally the array of penises, and I guess people that I've fucked, they all kind of look the same. Like everyone's in the general facility.
You mean looks wise or penis wise?
Looks wise, like
Okay.
looks wise of their penis, like the way that their penis like looks is shaped.
So
like,
you have a
things like
type,
that.
huh?
And then I guess, and so on OnlyFans, I'm like, whoa, dicks look like that. Like sometimes guys ask for ratings, and I'm like, what's wrong with your dick? Or like this, I'm like, your dick looks rather red, and I think you should get that checked out. Like you might have an STD. I've seen so many dicks that I think I can literally detect STDs on their dicks. Like I'm like, you look dirty. I don't know what's going on there. Like, but I can imagine because they look all different that each one's gonna have a different thing. I know some guys who literally only want their head touched. They don't want any other part of their like dick or balls or anything.
Yeah.
And then I know guys that are literally like, I want your entire throat there. I want one hand on the balls and the other one on my ass. Like there is a wide range of what people could like.
I met a girl who like I knew could deep throat, and she would gag when she'd like deep throat me, and I go, you gag a lot, but like you told me you can deep throat. She goes, I can. I go, what's with the gagging? She goes, oh, I'm just doing that for you. And I go, I don't need that. I don't need my ego fucked with. I'm confident enough. Don't fake shit with me. And I was like, oh, she goes, well, the last dude I used to do this for wanted me.
Some guys love that.
But he also had a little dick. So that was his compensation for, you know, banging his girlfriend on a 3-incher.
Yeah, though, there's people who do so many different things. Yeah. Even guys. Sometimes I'm literally like, what are you doing down there? Like, right?
It's tough because I've always like, I've met people who are like, you know, I want someone who's kind of in a better place too. And, you know, you're always still working. You're never out of the fucking woods. You're never on the mountaintop. It never ends. You're never perfect. I'm not fucking perfect. Yeah. I fuck up. I make mistakes. I'm just better than I was 2 years ago. And I'm a lot better than I was 4 years ago. And I'm fucking a million light years better than who I was 10 years ago. All right. When I was a real fucking cunt. And so it's, like sometimes my biggest issue I feel is if I meet someone who's insecure with themselves, because like if I meet someone and they like, oh, let's turn the lights off. Like, what do you mean turn the lights off? What am I too ugly? You don't want to see me? And it's always just.
See,
I know it's
that's
not that.
the red flag you notice, and you're like, hey, we're not gonna do this, and we're not gonna have sex because like right then you know you're setting yourself up.
Is
for
their
disappointment.
insecurity of their own body, and which is like, if you can't be comfortable being naked around me, how do you be comfortable? You know, how do we be comfortable at all?
But that's why people have to learn how to love themselves so they're not insecure, because they're, you know what I mean?
What did you do to work on self-love?
Forgive myself for the past mistakes that I have, or the person that I was, like, especially my last relationship. I literally was like, what did I do wrong? And like, what did I was just so like hurtful of myself. And then I realized I was like, who was I not? What was I wanted them to like fill this like void. Basically, I got really close with this person's like mom and dad and 2-year-old son and brother and cousins. Like we moved so fast, but it was like I was a part of a family for the first time, and I never had that. And so I looked past a lot of things that were red flags because I saw this, like, I was like, oh my God, I could literally be loved and have a happy family and like all of this stuff. Like, so I was looking past like stupid little things that I probably should have, experienced. And so then I realized I was looking for that sense of home and self and love and fulfillment elsewhere. And I'm super into spirituality and like meditation and things like that. And it all is about like everything is within. Like once you are so good with yourself, you don't really need external stuff. If it's a plus if you get it, but it's not like a need. Exactly. And so I've been trying to like, I literally will say affirmations. You're a fucking hot ass bitch. You are worthy. Like people want to listen to you talk. Like I'm dead at, look, where's my phone?
Dude, earlier today, before we were gonna do the show, I was in a fucked up energy, and I sat in my kitchen going, this shall pass, this too shall pass, this too shall pass, over and over and over again. I don't chase. Oh, fuck. I don't chase, I attract. The justice that restores my peace will find its way to me. What is meant for me will find me. Money flows quickly and easily to me. Opportunities flow quickly and easily to me. Oh, you
I say this
get the
stuff
mantra
every single day. And then it says, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich, I am that bitch, because I indeed am. And so, and then I also do like I am deeply loved. I love myself. Like I'm a good person. Like you have to tell yourself and remind yourself and not be hard on yourself. Because I grew up with a narcissistic mother who told me how horrible I was my whole life. Yeah. I was top of my high school class. I got into college on a free ride. I put myself through college when I got my scholarships taken away because of my mom. I worked 3 jobs. I took care of my siblings. I had a dad in prison. Like I had all this shit, and then the whole time my mom was telling me how much of a piece of shit I am and how unworthy I am and how no one was ever going to love me.
This is why self-forgiveness was so important
and that's why I had to tell myself, like, no, that's not true. Like, these are just stories you're telling yourself. Like, you are loved, you are worthy, and that requires being alone. It required a lot of, literally, there's days where I spent 3 hours meditating just trying to, like, tell myself that I loved myself.
I went through the same thing.
Because I realized I didn't. I genuinely realized I didn't. And like a lot of what I was doing and the confidence that people think I had on social media, it was a way to get like people to like me because I never was liked and to feel important. And I felt like I had to achieve something. And now I don't feel like that and I can enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah, I used to punish myself bad. Like a lot of times when I was drinking, I just wanted to die. And I would drink to excess till I was like, God, just sit there and drink like a fifth of vodka to my fucking face and just, or more, like towards the end. And it was part of it was to punish myself. It was hatred I had of myself. And I was like, you're in shitty relationships because you fucking suck. And I was forgiving other people. I was getting through the process of forgiving others, but the last thing I could do was forgive me. And I traced my thing back too, where I realized, my dad would hit me at a young age. And my dad would beat me because my dad was abusive to my mother. And as a child, you're a sponge. You absorb what your parents are. You take them in. And so I would treat my mom like shit, even though I love my mom, because that's how my dad treated my mom. And I wanted to be my dad. So I would talk back to my mother. I'd speak to my mother the way he did. I'd be a little fucking piece of shit like he was. And then he beat me for it. And it gave me this, well, if my dad loves me and he only beats me because I'm bad, I'm a bad fucking kid. And so that permanently stuck in my head. Your dad, who's your hero, isn't going to beat you unless you suck as a fucking kid. And then I realized, it also comes from, and that created a system within me I had to get over of self-forgiveness and also realizing, he hates himself. Like he drinks because he hates himself and he's beating me because he's seeing parts of me in him. So instead of like doing the proper thing, which is like, I'm going to dress this so my kid doesn't absorb it. He's like, I'm just going to beat me out of him. That's an easy fucking method.
My mom did the same thing. Yeah. Like, I think that I bring out, like, I'm definitely a reflection of who she is, like, in terms of my personality. And, like, she is, like, the gift of God. My mom can talk her way into anything. And, like, she's a natural born saleswoman. I learned that from her. But I also hated myself and didn't love myself and felt like I wasn't worthy because that's all I was told my whole life. And people don't realize that, like, this isn't like a thing that will happen in a couple months. I've been working on this for years. Everything behind the scenes, like, that I do every single day for years has been, how do I become a better version of myself? And as long as I'm doing one thing that's like for me and trying to heal that shit, I recognize that I had it and I was losing friends left and right. And I was like, I'm a victim. Why does no one like me? Why are my friends leaving me? Why did my college best friend ghost me after 4 years? And then I looked at who I was and I was like, oh my God, you were such like this. Now that I'm healed more, I can't be around people who are living in their shit. It brings me down. And I realized I was that succubus of energy. And so it just like losing people over and over, and you have things, you get sick of your fucking own shit.
Yeah, you do.
and it's a fucking battle. And I have had backtracked. I worked on my shit. I had a glow up. I looked super fit, like doing well, went through a relationship. I told him I loved him for the first day ever on the anniversary of my dad's death. After us dating for 9 months, we were officially boyfriend and girlfriend for 9 months. Never said I loved you. Like, we were taking it very slow. And he was the first time that told me like to not be codependent. And I was like, this is great. My first stable person. holidays came around, my mom tried to like, a lot of shit happened in my family in the holidays. My dad died like January 16th. So like that whole time period is just like hell. And so I was having like severe anxiety and all this stuff. Told him I loved him. And he said, sorry, I don't feel that way about you. And we went cold turkey, never talked really after that at all. And I went into like a deep spiral, gained 30 pounds. I stopped doing the things that I loved doing, like all of that stuff. And so it's like, but then the next relationship, you know, I grew a little bit more, and like even the relationships before that, and it's, you just see the pattern. So it's like every year I've worked on myself, but then I realize I'm like, well, there's still things that are coming up that are not healed and shit.
There's never not going to be things.
I know.
That's the lesson people always going to get, is that
you have to choose yourself every single day. There's
no everyone, like America, we kind of get obsessed with this idea of there is something at the end of the mountain. Like you get to a mountaintop and then, or you get the journey ends, and it fucking does it, man. It's work. It's always work.
So for me too, with my childhood, I've been working since I was 14. I never had I went to college with no college experience. Like I was working every weekend. Like I didn't get to be the fuckhead kid who got to party and stuff. Now I'm 27, hanging out with 22-year-olds and drinking and doing cocaine because it's the first time I could fucking do it. And so like I'm living through it now.
That's something you can do as a woman, because as a guy, I couldn't hang out with like someone at 27 who's 22.
I hang out with like 65-year-old men. It never ends for men. But like
sugar daddies?
No, like I hang out with a lot of older people.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in the Boston party scene, there's like a underground Boston party scene, like people who'd go to like the Grand and whatever. The age range is literally like 21-year-old girls to like old dudes.
Really?
And it's a huge age range. Yeah. And everyone just hangs out and parties together. It's just, yeah, I don't know. But
is it that dynamic where it's a lot of dudes purposely like,
oh yeah, they're not like even sugar daddies. They just use their like age and money, I think, to
prestige.
It's super easy to get like a 21-year-old girl who's never had that attention from an older dude. They're paying for things. They're taking the boats. They're going out. They're providing this lifestyle of like that party scene. It's an easy win.
Yeah. I guess I've often been critical of dudes who specifically only date younger girls, because I'm like,
I think it's weird. I mean, they can be 65 and still unhealed, and that's why they're fucking going for someone who's 21.
Well, that's what it is.
Why aren't you in a stable relationship?
I go, you're dating someone who isn't emotionally intelligent enough to call you out on your bullshit.
Exactly.
You're just, it's like people who only associate with animals. And I go, like, that's kind of a red flag for me, is too many of them, because I'm like, you keep things around that don't call you out for your shit. Because your dog's never going to be like, dude, it's Thursday at 3 p.m. and you haven't showered in 5 days.
Yeah.
All right? You're still in bed. And I want someone to be like, hey, dickhead,
get
it together, man.
It's hard for me to date, because I am very like, I'm like, why'd you just talk to me like that? Or I literally be like, someone will say, I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave. Or I'll get up, they're like, where are you going? I'm like, that wasn't cool. Well, the way that you behave wasn't cool, and I'm going to leave. Girls don't do that. People don't do that. And men are like,
a lot of people don't do that at all. But if someone doesn't challenge you, you don't want someone who's going to challenge you. I don't mean be rude to you.
Oh, I need a challenge.
But don't you want a boyfriend who's going to expect you to be better?
Yeah. I'm not saying somebody that's challenging me and I get upset. I'm saying like guys try to pull bullshit. Oh, I didn't text you because of this or what. Like just like I can just tell when people are breadcrumbing me or whatever, and I just like remove myself from that situation, and then that either they never talk to me again either, because like that's what they were looking for and I'm not giving it to them, or they're like, wait a second, you're not putting up with my bullshit. But it's very hard to like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but yeah.
No, I get you. So have you dated since you found success through OnlyFans?
No. Dated anyone?
Yeah.
No. I think I went on one date, and it reminded me why I didn't want to go on dates.
Well, I just imagine it's going to be an impediment for you in the future. Obviously, one that you seem like you're ready to tackle. But nevertheless.
If anyone who would ever look at me different, judge me differently, or not date me because I have an OnlyFans, they would never even be a consideration.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, like, literally, unless you think I am the most amazing thing that you have ever met, and you are totally supportive of everything I do, there's no chance I'm even going to go out to eat with you.
Yeah, because big mistake is that people want to change people. But also, see, I think this leads to a lot of sexless relationships. Is I meet a lot of dudes who put they put their wife on a pedestal, and that's wrong for both of you. But also they're like, all right, so I like kinky shit, but a girl who does kinky shit to me, I can't marry because that's my woman. And she has to be held up here. And I go, nah, man, I want my girl to be someone who gets fucking freaky with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to just, I know so many dudes are like, oh, that's the
You're not
mother
gonna
of
bend me
my
over in the
kids.
parking lot of my kid's soccer game. I don't want
Yes.
it.
Like why, what is, so a lot of dudes end up in these situations and it's like, well, you built this for yourself. Because the girl who did the shit you wanted to do, you denigrated her and said, oh, I can't have a family with her. Of course you can have a fucking family with her.
I think a lot of guys make an assumption about me from my social media and how I present myself and that I do OnlyFans. And like, look at the conversation we just had about healing. You don't have those conversations with everyone. I know I'm so much more high value than what half people think of me. And so that's all that matters if I know it. So I'm not going to like the people who think that, or even like they're not even a consideration in dating. I won't even go out with them. I'm not even going to flirt with them because I know it's not what I want long term. I have a vision of what I want in a relationship. We're going to have sex all the time. We're going to have super kinky sex. We're both going to have an empire. You're not going to put me on a pedestal, but you're going to treat me like a queen, the queen that I am. But in return, you also know you're a fucking king and a catch too, and you're not going to let me walk all over you. We're going to be like two independent, coexisting like people who coexist and bring each other up. It's going to be that. And until then, I literally want to be single and not have sex. And I feel so good about that. So like for like people are like, oh, don't you worry what people's families are going to think? No. Because if you're not seeing the intelligence that I have, the work that I'm doing, how far I've come in my life, where I'm going, how I treat the people in my life that I love, how I treat myself, if you're going to look past because I have a fucking OnlyFans, how sad are you? Like, how pathetic are you? You're not going to see that? So what are you valuing? Makes sense why you're not fucking your wife.
No, you're right.
Mic drop.
Well, see,
what people think of you and
it means nothing, especially
it says a lot more about themselves.
You know, life is finite, or at least this portion of it. You know, I believe that spiritually I'm going to go somewhere else, but I know that I'm not going to sit on my fucking bed and be like, oh man, I should have dated that girl because someone told me not to, or I shouldn't have, or any of that shit. I'm not going to do that. We also in America, through travel, and especially when I was just in Colombia, our attitude towards women in sex work, and I'll let that span anything from just OnlyFans to strippers to escorts, is we have a real fuck you relationship between the men and the women in it. The John or whatever, the girl who's on the other side of it. Whereas it doesn't exist in so many other countries where, like in Latin America, it's legalized. And, you know, there were girls walking the street, but there were also families walking this same plaza. And it was like, all right, if you want that, go for it. But there's something
religion is a huge part of it.
Well, it is. I think it's the Protestantism of the U.S. Because we make more porn than anyone. And everyone in America watches it. They consume porn. Every part of our society sells sex. But then we act like it's this filthy thing. And we act like people who want it are gross. Whereas I've been in like, whether it's Europe or Latin America, and they're more open about it, and people can just, I feel like they're genuinely happier. They're not pretending to not want this thing that we all fucking want.
I know. It's definitely something I've struggled in general because I've always been, I was super hypersexual because I was also sexually assaulted in high school. And I had dated somebody for 8 years. So like literally from 14 years old to 22, we had broken up like literally for a couple of months. And then I was raped. And so from there, and like no one believed me and all this stuff. So when I like I got super sexual with him. And then when we broke up, it was like, I think to take back the power that I lost because I had lost my virginity to this guy. I had never had sex. I straight up told the guy who did this to me that I wouldn't, ever hook up with someone unless it meant something. So I was not a person like putting myself in these situations. And so I lost a lot of power and innocence that I have. And so then I just took complete control and ownership of my sexuality because it was the only way to make me feel like I was in power. And so I've had that and I've been super hypersexual my whole fucking life. That's why like my comedy is about sex, like all of this stuff, it all stems from like taking power and ownership of it. And it's very, there's a lot of people who are like that. And so people don't realize too, they look down upon it, but it's like sometimes people are hypersexual or going through these things because things happen to them. But I think what's the issue with America is no one works on their shit. It's almost like looked down upon. Hey, take this pill, go party, fuck a girl, get your mind off of it. It's not.
It's a consumerist ideology where I can use money to take away my problems, and it doesn't work that way. You fucking work for it. This isn't the real world. Ain't Hollywood,
though. Do you know
man.
people are ashamed of their own bodies? Like you said, like the lights thing. So many people's parents my mom was like, tell me when you want to be on birth control, honey. I'm 16. I want to have sex with her. I'm like, I want to be on birth control. She's like, you're a fucking whore. So like people like, and I have a lot of friends with similar experiences, like women. I know like a lot of women are shunned for that type of thing. So it's just like built from like your childhood all the way to your adulthood, and then generationally, like those mindsets continue.
It's built into our society because the way advertising works at its core is it makes you feel like you're not enough. And when you get that built into your mind as a child, into your fucking soul, throughout your life, you're going to pursue avenues to be more.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dude, I got to get surgery because I have an underbite. Oh man, I gotta get plastic surgery. I have to buy this because my tits aren't big enough. I'm going bald. My dick isn't big enough. My ass isn't right. We're told that instead of just accepting yourself.
Yeah.
And like I was on TikTok and I saw this kid who was a ginger and he's like, yeah, I met this girl, but as a ginger, I don't look good naked. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man?
What
is that? I fucking love being naked, dude. I'm more of a ginger than you are. What do you think I give a fuck? I'm in all my freckled glory with my clothes off. It's not about, if you derive your worth from what society gives you, you're never going to get anywhere.
No, but even that, like the beauty industry and being a woman, you're not skinny enough, you're not pretty enough, your lips don't look this way, your ass doesn't look this way. Then you finally get to that point. Some people get to that point, they glow up, they lose weight, whatever, and then they're at that point and they're still not good enough. Now you have half the people who are like they're like, oh, be hot and pretty. Okay, so then you get hot and pretty, and then people are like, oh, well, then you're a whore. Or you must get with everyone, or I'm not gonna fuck you because they're fucking. Like, there's so many people who guys have told me, like, oh, I never talked to you because I assumed you were talking to a bunch of other people.
Do you get called a whore a lot? Do you guys give you that?
I think indirectly. I think people, especially when I tell people, like, oh, I'm not having sex, or I'm not, like, dating, or, like, I turn people down, they're like, well, aren't you, like, dating and going out with people? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, I would assumed, because they're projecting how they would be as, like, a dude. So they're like, they see a pretty girl, and then they're like, well, guys must be talking to her. So then they think that, and then we were talking earlier about that ownership, like, that's my girl. That threatens a lot of insecure men. And then also, like, so then if people have that issue with sex and sexual people, and like, not only if you're like good looking, but then you're confident, and then you own your sexuality, it threatens a lot of male egos, and also threatens a lot of women. So then
it threatens a lot of girls.
so then it's still this like catch-22. Like no, it doesn't matter where you're at. Like there's people who are projecting their own insecurities or whatever onto you. And so yeah, I think people make assumptions about me and my sexuality. They make assumptions if I've like been with a lot of people. I hear people get confused and almost like, what? When I tell them about like whatever's going on in my life, or that I'm not dating or fucking anyone, people are genuinely like, wait, you're not fucking anyone? I'm like, no. And like, you haven't been? I'm like, no. And like, that's like, they're like, what? We don't understand. Like, so. Well,
it's kind of, so I've seen this a lot where, like when you're trying to date and someone's ashamed, especially with like the money dynamic of whether it's porn or OnlyFans or any kind of sex work, or it's just women in general. Dudes will want something from them and they don't give it, and they go, "Well, you're a fucking whore."
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Daily. Dude, so I dated a girl and we would have threesomes, and every now and then we get a message from like a dude, and he'd be like, "I go, look, man, the article said." Well, like
the article, what are you fucking?
Yeah, I was
in the New York. It's like the fucking Boston Globe looking for a party.
The article, the post.
You're one of those guys on Craigslist.
Oh, my FetLife profile said, "Woman, why are you messaging me?" And then they'd be like, "Oh, well, fuck you anyway." And I'm like, "Well, I'm getting laid. I have a girl, man. Like, so what are you doing? You're the bum." But how could it's like when I meet. So many lesbians tell me about how guys continually hit on them. Like, hey, and they're like, I told you I like pussy. What more? What do you need?
It's the challenge of like converting somebody. It's It's the rejection. People literally can't handle rejection.
Well, yeah, it comes from a primordial feeling of someone doesn't want to reproduce with me and make more of me, and people just got to get over that. Well, that's the good thing about sales and selling yourself is I have no fear of rejection, as you clearly don't either. It's part of the game.
Well, yeah, I've been told no my whole life. I've had to work for every single thing that I've had to do. So when it comes to like guys, I'm like, all right, if you're gonna reject me, like literally, there's billions of more people on the planet.
Yeah, that's why
I got a lot of options.
You shouldn't be afraid to end shit that's toxic because you will find something. It's gonna take time.
And I'm not saying I just have a lot of options either. I'm saying everyone does.
Everyone does.
There is a plethora of opportunities. That's why when people are like, when they live in fear-based things and they're like, aren't you scared OnlyFans is gonna ruin a relationship or an opportunity or a job? I'm like, if you're thinking so limited and small, like there's the world is huge. There's anything for anyone and it's available. And that includes people.
No, you're right. You're completely right. It's that fear of loneliness, and God knows loneliness was the core of why I did self-destructive things. Yeah. Whether I drank or I just, especially when I got out of my last relationship, I was just a man whore. And I was like, oh, I'm lonely. That's what it is. I don't want to be alone.
I partied hard. I ran myself right into like
in the dirt.
6 a.m. up till 6 a.m. Sometimes I'd be up until 6 a.m., come home, change, and then we'd go to brunch. And like I'd take an hour nap in the middle of the day and just repeat it all summer. So it's like no one's perfect. We all have our things, but
what do you plan to do with what you have right now? Are you just going to are you going to move more into like a teaching role, like educating women or do you teach guys too?
Yeah. A big part of my mental health thing and like growing and healing, I get a lot of like brain fog and I get overwhelmed with like making decisions and like I get a lot of imposter syndrome and it's like I also want to do so many things, so I have a hard time staying like committed or consistent with anything. So I have spent every day for the past like 8 months figuring out what am I gonna do next. And like when I quit my corporate America job and did OnlyFans full time, like we were talking earlier about reaching that point in your life where you like get there and you're like, holy shit, I'm there. That never happens. But I've been working for the past 10 years of my life to get to this point where I'm my own boss. Like I'm an influencer, an online person. Like don't have to answer to anyone. I got to that point and I was like, who the fuck am I? Everything that I've done and who I've been has been leading up to this point. I never planned for after. I didn't expect it to come this soon. And so now I'm having this like identity crisis of like, who do I want to be? I got into comedy because I loved comedy and I was living in New Hampshire and there was nothing. Do I genuinely want to be a comic? I know I felt that then. But then I'm also like, but I have the freedom to do anything. Was I doing this because it's convenient or do I genuinely love the feeling of being on stage and telling jokes? And then I'm like, okay, but I know I'm really good at teaching. So do I want to be a public speaker and doing courses and teaching people and helping people? Do I want to talk about mental health and all the hard shit that I went through? I'm like, but you have to pick something because you have to have a niche. And I'm like, I can't. That's why if you look at my social media, it's all over the place. What?
No, you sound like my inner fucking monologue. This is literally the fight I have with myself on a regular basis.
Every single day.
Because I like helping people. Because by helping, like, I'll make motivational videos. I used to put them on Instagram. Now I mostly put them on TikTok. And, some people would give me shit for it. And then other people would secretly message me and be like, oh, hey, this helped me a lot. Thank you. But I do them for me. Because when I say that shit, I'm holding myself to
accountable
task.
Too.
When I put it out there, it's out there. I got to stay true to my own word. So it's just as much, if not more, for me than anyone else. Yeah. But obviously, I like helping people because it makes me feel good about myself. And I had this same thing where, and I'm a firm believer in this. In the idea of being one thing is ridiculous.
I can't. It literally makes me.
It's not
cringe.
What a person is. And so
I can't just be. I made my name Jamie Lee Comedy, and I'm keeping it that because I even if I didn't continue stand up, I like being funny. I think I'm funny. So like I want that, but it's for marketability. And I also didn't want my full name out when I was like, because of jobs and everything, because I was talking about like giving head on stage and like trying to work at like big like sales companies. Like that doesn't work out. So like,
no, you could be a pharmaceutical girl.
I mean, yeah. Now that I'm in sales, I feel you can sell anything and be in anything, but I struggled with that too, because then I was like, well, what about the days I don't feel funny? Because I'm not perfect. I'm not on all the time. I'm not
This is what I
like
wanted to ask you about.
confident in
Yeah.
myself 100% of the time. I talk this big game because that's me telling myself that I have to do that. That's genuinely how I feel. But do those voices in my head get to me? Are there days where I spend 5 days in bed? Are there times where I ignore my boundaries? Yeah, it's a fucking learning curve. And so there's times I wanted to be a dancer when I grew up. I also wanted to be the next Steve Irwin. I went to school for pre-vet. Now I shake my ass on the internet. Like everything is changing, and it happens to be with like who I'm surrounded with, the environment, and feeling stuck to one thing to grow. I see all these TikTokers that make the same type of video every single day, and that's why they grow, and that's why they're at 1 million followers in 4 months or whatever, because it's predictable and it's that. But I'm not a predictable person. I'm all over the fucking place. I'm bipolar. You don't know which version you're gonna get of me today. Some days I'm happy, and some days I'm like, fuck the fucking world, and I just want to say fuck you to everyone.
Yeah.
And and for me to consistently make content, I literally have to show all sides of me, or I won't do it. So when I'm not making content, because I'm just like, oh, I have to be funny, I'm just doing comedy videos. Well, when you're down and you're depressed for 2 months, you don't want to fucking make comedy videos. You don't want to get on stage.
I've been struggling with this too, because my social media is not one thing. And so I'm like, I can't just, I gotta show me. This is a reflection of who I am. It's just me online. So it's gonna be all of me. And I don't like, I'm cleaning out my mom's house and my parents' house, you know, because my dad's sick and I got to move them to the first floor. My mom's a hoarder. And so I took Snapchat of my house where I found my dad's porn, like in my old bedroom under a mountain of fucking shit. And people are like, dude, what's up with your house? And I go, it's the house I grew up in, man. It ain't all glamour. Life ain't all fucking, you know, smiles and titties. Sometimes it sucks. Yeah. But I also don't know. I like showing that. I like being like, hey, this is part of me.
Yeah.
You can't just.
That's why I talk about everything, because it's who I am. And when you're embarrassed of like who you are, where you came from, you hide it, and then you put this false projection of who you are to the world. That's exhausting. Like, I have so much trauma that if I'm trying to be somebody else other than me, like I hate myself for it and feel guilty because I'm not being authentic. But then like you try to fit in this mold that people want you to be in, and you're like, I can't fucking do it. And that's when you stop doing things you like doing because it becomes like a job or whatever. I've been doing this social media thing for years, like since college, and I put myself on stories when it wasn't like popular. I was talking about my day when no one gave a fuck what people were doing. There was no influencer. I was doing that before influencers are a thing. And I got so much hate for it. And I was like, I had this big vision, and I've always had it since I was a kid. I was like, I'm going to be like the next Gary Vee. Like, he owns his own business. He swears. He does whatever the fuck he wants. Like, if you don't like it, eat my dick. And I was like, I'm going to be that person. And no one is ever going to tell me.
Gary Vee, that's the guy you went for?
Just because he swore. Because I always wanted to swear, and I never thought that I could be professional.
Really? Huh.
I am typically like a fucking truck driver.
See, I grew up swearing in my home, so
Me
it was
too.
never like.
Well, that's why I always swear, but everyone would be like, "Yo, we're in a job." I'd be on the sales floor, and I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
When
And
I
my
got
boss
into
is
comedy, other comics were like, you don't have to swear, and I go, dude, that's how I talk. I call people
Exactly.
shithead and cunt, and I say fuck.
Exactly.
Like, this is how my parents spoke to me. Like, what do you?
Literally. My mom will be like, listen, cunt, you didn't do the dishes. You want to go grab food? And I'd be like, yeah, you stupid bitch. And then, like, people are like, you talk to your mom like that? I'm like, yeah, it's normal.
Yes, I would make videos with my mom, and I'd swear in the videos, and people are like, what do you, I'm like, it's my mother, dude.
I would
like,
do it to my Nana. I'd be like, Nana, are we going to go to the strip club and like, whatever, you want to smoke weed with me? And
like, this person physically grew me inside of her and then shot me out. Like, I can't say fuck in front of her.
Yeah.
It's just a weird
I just
concept.
think it's because people care so much what other people think. And so that's the thing, is like, I had to just put myself out there without giving a fuck what people think. And then it was all over the place. People were like, well, I came to your page for fitness. I used to be like a fitness person.
It always starts with
I used to
fitness.
do network marketing. I was one of those girls. By the way, isogenic shakes, they have 24 grams of protein. They're really good for you.
Every booty girl starts with fitness.
Literally. Well, I gained a lot of weight in college and I lost it. And then people were like asking me. And so I started my Instagram to like teach people. And this is again before even like big fitness Instagrammers were like a thing. Like I was like very known in college for it. I was called like that girl who lifts. So like, but I knew I wanted to be online. I liked being that like person and helping people. But then I fell out of love with fitness, and I was like, fuck, I built my whole thing on fitness. So then I just literally switched and I started doing network marketing. And I noticed as I was doing my stories and I'm just like showing people my life and I'm talking about my problems and I'm being like way like too open. People were like, I'm learning everything about you. Why are you so open about it? And I'm like, because now you're watching a show. And people didn't realize they got hooked. They got to know all different aspects of me. So when I switched to a new thing, people followed along. Did some people get mad and they're like, oh, I'm not going to follow you anymore because you're not doing fitness? Yeah. But then people were like, okay, I've watched you go from this to this to this to this, and you are still going. And so I think I don't know. I have to like not be hard on myself and recognize like that I have done all these different things and grown. But yeah, I don't know. Sticking to content and like not being like on all the time. Now I'm starting to like make my content when I'm feeling fucking depressed and I'm in my bed. I'm going to make a video about it and I'm going to put that out, because if I don't, I'm like that forever. One, I feel like I'm being inauthentic by being like, hi, here's my life. I'm an influencer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, some days I want to kill myself. Yeah. And I'm just going to tell you that so you fucking know.
It's, I was doing a podcast with a girl on radio on a much more affluent network. And she hit me up and she goes, one of your Monday motivational videos, you talked about putting a gun in your mouth and blowing your brains out. And I go, whoa. Here's what I said. I talked about how I got over a week of depression. And I go, you ever have those days where you just wake up and want to put a gun in your mouth? And I go, you don't ever have those? There's no way I'm the only one.
So many people do.
And she was like, you can't put that up. You can't put that up. And I go, why? What do you mean? She goes, that can't come back to me. And I go, I'm not advocating for it. I'm trying to help people not do that.
But then that's their own projection. They are embarrassed of them even being associated with something that they're not fucking comfortable with themselves accepting of themselves or other people. And the amount of stuff I get on a daily basis still to this day, people talk mad shit about me, are like, oh, do you see what she's doing? Oh, she started an OnlyFans. Or like, oh, why is she doing this? And then people don't want to be associated with it because it's not their thing. I don't know. It's just like, you have to know who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it through all of that shit, through everyone telling you no.
Yeah.
You keep doing it. You cannot let other people get to you. You cannot let other people, fine, then maybe I won't do your show then. And guess what? In 5 years from now, you're going to fucking regret I didn't do your show. And you have to have that attitude through the whole thing, blinders, and be like, I know exactly what I'm doing.
You need to be your biggest fan.
And you do, and it's the hardest thing on mental health.
That's brutal.
I feel like people think that I'm like doing well. It is. Do you know how hard it is to literally not be liked by everyone and to have people constantly saying shit in your DMs and like getting hate? Like, I went out without a mask at my friend's birthday party, and I literally got harassed on TikTok for the past like 3 weeks.
TikTok people fucking
making videos about how
sometimes.
horrible I am and all this stuff. And
TikTok has a real rage mob mentality, and I've seen it happen where they find someone and they periodically go to video after video after video to tell you suck.
Yeah.
You suck. And
the more you put yourself out there, though, the more you're vulnerable in all aspects of your life, the more you're going to get it from other people.
But you're
at the
also
end of the
protected
day,
that way.
But at the end of the
can't
day,
use it against
they
you.
can never use it against me. I know exactly who I am, and I'm 100% authentic. So you can hate all you want. But are you being authentic?
It's funny. I was just talking. So I've been staying with my brother a lot. He lives in Savin Hill area, Dorchester, which used to be just a regular place, and now it became like super gentrified. And I don't wear a fucking mask when I'm outside. If I go into your shop, I'll wear one. It's your place. I'll do it. I'm not gonna fight you, but I'm not wearing one outside. Not a fucking chance.
Me either.
No way in hell. And no one says shit to me. But like I was talking to a girl who lives near me and she doesn't do it either. And men will actively go over and like attack her for it. And I go, well, they're doing it because you're a girl and they feel like they can easily bully you. Because I'm in that same place and none of them have said it to me. And I dare them to. They can go for it if they want.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, though, there's opinions on everything. Masks, content, mental health, whatever. You're never going to be 100% liked. And that's why you have to be okay with what you're doing. Like I was going out all summer and this girl I went to college with messaged me this long thing about how inconsiderate that I am, that she can't see her grandmother who lives literally across the country.
What a fucking wanker.
Okay, then you can see your grandma. You can
do
literally fly out, get tested, quarantine for 14 days, know you're clear, go see your grandma. But if you don't want to do that, that's not my fucking problem with the world. And like, I'm not gonna
I'm not going to stop living because you've chosen
I'm
to
an
stop
asshole
living.
about it. I'm honestly like,
Yeah, I am too.
and yeah, and it just is what it is. And I had to look at this girl and I'm like, what did you think you were going to get out of this message?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry you can't see your grandmother, but that's not my problem.
No,
like, it's not.
not.
I worked and she's going to hate me for that and be like, fuck this bitch and anyone who sees me out with a mask. But guess what? I spent the last 10 years working every single weekend, every single holiday, struggling, never partying, never having fun, being told no by everyone, doing it all by myself. And I finally got a job where I could work for myself, made a shit ton of money. Fuck you. Fuck out of here if you think I'm going to stay in my fucking house. Because for the first time in my life, I'm going to be selfish. And I had to be 100% okay with being like, I'm a selfish asshole right now. And I'm okay with that.
Everyone in America is a selfish. Everyone in the world is. And there's this fantasy going on where people
You have to be selfish
are
sometimes.
signaling. Yes, you do. That's how you can live a happy life. Now, is there an extent where you're hurting other people? Absolutely. But there's also the people who are most sanctimonious. I'm also like, well, dude, fuck you. You gentrified this neighborhood. You put people who lived here for generations out somewhere. Like you don't give a fuck that you ruin people's communities because it doesn't affect you. But this little thing is your little symbol that you throw on where you can pretend to care. No aspect of your life do you care about other people. You don't donate. You don't help other people. You've wrecked countless fucking inner city neighborhoods. You trample people beneath your feet. You make massive income, and then you buy a jacket for your dog when you could help starving kids, right? We're all, to a degree, selfish.
We all pick what we are going to focus on.
But it's not always a dirty word. I used to think it was.
Yeah, I used to think it was. And that's why I am... like, I don't know if I come off like cocky about it or like I don't know. Like I just, when I say like I don't care and it comes off as like an asshole, it's like, no, I genuinely do care. I care that you can't see your family. That sucks. I feel bad for everyone who's lost their family members. But right now, my own life, like for my own mental health, I had to go out. I was not going to be here if I didn't put myself out there. And you don't know what somebody else is going through and you call them an asshole. Like there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. So again, as long as you're okay with you going to who you are when you go to bed, like that's all that fucking matters. And I have to know for the rest of my life, there's going to be haters as long as I put myself out there and do things that like I'm controversial. And that's what's helped me grow.
You're not supposed to be liked by everyone.
You're not. If you're liked by everyone, you're playing it too fucking safe.
If you are, you're a fraud.
And you care too much about the comfort of other people and making them happy.
People are going to hate you just because you exist. There are people who are just not going to like your face.
Yep.
All right? And so what? Fuck them. Like, I remember talking with one of my friends who, like, he went to college and he grew up in Southie like me and he had the same accent as I do. And he goes, how'd you not lose your accent? I go, what do you mean? He goes, people didn't make fun of you? And I go, yeah, they did. Of course they did. People, you know how many jokes I got that people make me sound like I'm a moron? And he goes, yeah, but you didn't change anything? I go, no, because fuck them. Because fuck them. I don't live for them. I'm not changing who I am for you. And here's the thing. When people test you and you do change, they lose any amount of respect for you they had.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going against the grain by fighting them.
Yeah.
But in reality, they come to endear and respect you because you didn't give in to them.
Yeah. I think, and it's so funny. I remember coming into comedy and this comedian was like, oh, you're new at comedy, you're not good. And like, he was saying like, I'm not experienced yet because I was brand new, which I get, I'm not experienced, but I knew I had it in me to be good.
Yeah, but you've lived a life and that counts for experience because 90% of people get on stage don't even have experience to talk about.
I can get on stage and I can talk to people and like, that's half of the battle there. It's like
90% of the battle.
I was like, hey, like I was doing YouTube videos and doing things and people were like, why are you doing that? Or like, you know what I mean? People were weird about it. And I remember going to comics and being like, you need to get on video. You need to start making content now. You need to get on YouTube. You need to look at what Andrew Schultz is doing. Look at all these people who are starting to do it and they're well known because of their social media. If you're not doing it now, you're going to regret not doing it. They were like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Didn't really listen to me. A year later, they're like, hey,
can you help me with this?
No, but they were just like, you were right. And
oh, really? They admitted
that I was right. And they were like, coronavirus happened. I saw comedy die. No one expected that. But I'm always trying to prepare. That's my like flight or fight. Like I have to always prepare for the unexpected. I can never let anything like hit me by surprise. And that's the trauma response, obviously. But, and
I like that so many dudes shit on TikTok and now everyone has one. And I'm like, look, I shit on it for what it is, but also I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm above it. I need to have one.
You have to be considered insane, like literally insane by people to like get there. You know what I mean? Like so whoever, Steve Jobs creating the fucking Mac, like, and like an Apple computer, like people were like, you're crazy, but look at him now. People were thinking that I was crazy. Well, look where I'm at compared to me being homeless, living out of my fucking car, miserable, emotional roller coaster, working like everyone who said I couldn't do it or judged what I was doing. Look at me now. And now they respect it. They didn't respect it now. And it's so funny now. I have followers and I have this. And it's so crazy to see the people who bullied me in high school, girls who dropped me as friends, people who didn't show up for me when I need them, all of a sudden turn around and be like, oh my God, hey, like, you're doing so well. Like, let's talk. And it's like, I remember, you know, like you didn't support me. You talked shit about it. You participated in people making fun of what I was doing. And now here I am. And now I made it. You didn't think I was going to make it because you were projecting your own insecurities on me. Mm-hmm. But I knew I was going to make it. I knew the whole time and you didn't hear me out. And here we are.
People want you to fail because they're afraid to take a chance and they want to judge. But I've had people give me shit because at various points in my life, I've worked terrible jobs. I've engaged in fraud and theft and the selling of illicit substances.
We all have.
Not everyone, but you know, some people do. But I've people give you shit for it, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Starve? What am I gonna? Am I just gonna be broke? No, I'm gonna make fucking money, man. I'm gonna try and survive.
Yeah, I don't have any judgment on how anyone does anything, but
people gonna make a living. I've never. Really anyway. And that's like, we've had that, as I've said, I've reiterated this in the US where we see women make money off their sex appeal. We kind of give them extra shit that other countries don't, I feel like don't. And it's kind of our gender fight that we have going on. But what are you going to do? Like I was in Colombia, I met a girl who works as a cam girl, makes 3 to 4 times what the national average is for a regular job. Why wouldn't she? Mm-hmm. You know,
OnlyFans literally changed my life.
Yeah,
it changed my life. To be able to have the freedom to chill and make my own schedule and sit through times where I was like, my mental health wasn't okay. I was in a sales job where every day I had to come in and I had to fight through anything. I remember I found out, I don't know, something bad happened and like someone was in the hospital or whatever. And I was about to go into a demo to sell someone something. So like I literally just got my like heart ripped out, whatever. I don't know what happened. And I had to get on the phone and like do sales. That was doing that over and over and over in years, kept me in this flight response like mode where it wasn't healthy. Like OnlyFans allowed me to like heal through my shit. It allowed me to like take a break. It allowed me to breathe, which I haven't been able to do. It gave me money to pay off my debt. It has given me opportunities like crazy. People are like, oh, is it going to hurt you? No, there are big things coming. Like I have the opportunities that have been like put in my lap from what I've done are insane. And learning to love myself, like all of this stuff, like people judge it, but I'm like, yo, like I did something great for myself by doing it. You know what I mean? And I didn't compromise myself in the process. I didn't do anything that I wasn't uncomfortable with doing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't cross my own boundaries. So I'm respecting myself in the process for what I consider respecting myself. And I was able to heal and do this. And someone like is going to judge someone who does that. Like if you got to sell drugs so you can pay for your fucking kids' meals, sell fucking drugs, but know that might not be the long-term solution.
Yeah, no.
But you do what you got to do to get by. And that's what I looked at OnlyFans. I was like, I am going to make money. I'm going to sell this shit out of it like I can sell anything. And I didn't expect it to be long-term. But it was the greatest fucking thing that happened to me. So like
you heard it here first, folks. Jamie said it. OnlyFans saved me.
It did. It did. I don't think I would.
You know what? I understand what you're saying because one of the hardest parts about being creative or especially being a comic, when you want to make other people laugh and be happy, is when you're crushed by your job, and your debt, which I have both of.
Yeah.
Well, like I was always being crushed by shitty jobs, like manual labor jobs where I was blowing my fucking back out. I come home in physical agony and I'm still in debt. I'm still in debt. And,
Yep.
and I'm throwing away my body. I'm selling my body. I am. I was selling
my mental health. I was to
my
a
mental
company
and
that
physical
didn't give a
health.
fuck about me.
They don't care about
They
you.
didn't give a fuck about me.
And that was the hardest for me to be creative. And when that debt monkey, when that how do I feed myself monkey gets off your back, that's when you're at your best. I mean, the painters and the inventors of the Italian Renaissance were guys who had leisure time. It wasn't the peasant who had to work 15 hours a day. Not to say he couldn't make something just as good as the Mona Lisa. He just never got the opportunity for it. And his mind and spirit never got to develop. So
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. You cured a lot of my judgments of OnlyFans. I was already pretty open-minded of it, but you put it in a new light for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with getting the hate and putting myself out there for it because I want to be the person that, at least an influence, breaking like the stigma between like women who own their sexuality and are in sex work. I'm not doing porn. I'm not like fully a sex worker. You know what I mean?
You're like,
but to be somebody that can like put my name on the front line, because what do I have to lose? No, like I said, I've been alone for so long. What do I have to lose?
yeah. Plus your
Like-
$100,000 more.
Like, yeah. And like, if I can like change people's opinions by showing them like, hey, you can be smart and successful and do this and respect yourself. And you know what I mean? Like, fuck it if some people talk shit. I'm going to help some person. I've had people come up to me. I like talked to a girl. I like helped another comic, talking to her. She's like, I think I want to start one. I was like, yeah, do it. Here are some of my tips, like whatever. She crushed me. In 4 months, made $250,000.
Really?
Yep.
4 months, $250,000.
And she doesn't advertise herself online. I tell people to like use their personality. Like I don't post like a bunch of thirst traps on like my social media.
Yeah.
Like it's not like every other post is like me legs spread like half of those like Instagram models or whatever. Like I say, like use your personality because when people like you, they'll buy anything from you and they'll stay long term. So she made comedy videos on TikTok, like blew up and has absolutely fucking crushed it. And I'm like, that is to know that like anything, like just me putting myself out there. There's some people who are like, hey, you gave me the confidence to start this, which I didn't have before. And now I'm making like $3,000 extra a month. And that saved me. You know what I mean? To be able to like put myself on the line so that other people feel the confidence to do stuff that they're not able to, or show like that it's possible. I'm going to fucking write a book. I'm going to be the poster child that you can come from a fucking shit like whole family and a bad life and come out of it still on top. And so OnlyFans has been able to give me that opportunity to do that. And if that can help somebody else financially or whatever, like all to them. Like, I don't know.
I need to get a fucking OnlyFans.
Just start jerking it for gay
I don't want
guys.
to jerk off though. Can I?
The guys will ask you to like do weird things, like sell your socks or whatever. But yeah, I feel like most
Well,
of it, they
a lot
want
of
to see your
them-
dick. Definitely.
Well, they definitely want to see.
you could do dick ratings. You could rate their dicks.
I'm gonna give them all bad ratings. If it's not mine, I'm gonna rate it poorly. But maybe I could just do the whole insult them because there's such a market for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's for me. If I could pull it off.
It's not for
But,
everyone, and
yeah.
I also respect that too. You know, I
But
respect
it's-
that some people would never do it, and it's just not for them.
Everyone's got their vector, and if
Yeah.
they can use it. So the girl that you helped, she doesn't advertise it. So how does she?
She literally
make
has
her
the
fan
link in her
base?
bio
Oh, okay.
because she's hilarious as fuck. She makes
Is she from Boston?
quality.
Or New
no. No, I don't know if I'm like allowed to like give details.
You don't
about,
have
like,
to
who it is or
name her,
anything. Yeah,
that's fine.
But she just does a kick-ass job of making content, quality content, and has grown this audience. She plays it right, and then the guys click her link in the bio, and they're like, "Oh, she has an OnlyFans, cool," and it just worked out. And yeah, there's so many ways to do it. People like get this. When people hear OnlyFans, they think they have to do porn. They think that they have to like show things on Twitter because half the girls are literally getting piped out on Twitter, like to advertise themselves. Like I'm watching girls literally get face fucked and they're like $3.99 my thing, and I'm like, you know, to each their own. But like you don't have to do that if you don't want to.
You don't have to do the cam girl thing.
You
where
could
they
literally
stop
be
to
a
look.
chef. There's attorneys on OnlyFans. Like it's like having a Patreon. Hey, I'm gonna charge $20 and you subscribe to me and you get my content, my idea, my education, or whatever I'm teaching, and you don't even have to fucking get naked. There's another comedian who I follow, and she just does funny videos on there, and it's like a little deeper insight to her life.
Do you know who the comedian is who he puts up stuff on Pornhub and he doesn't actually get naked or do porn? He's a comic from LA, ginger dude, and it'll just be it's porn for women, and it's you know, and it'll just the title will be POV, boyfriend listens to all your problems and tenderly kisses you. I can't remember his fucking name.
That's so fucking
but
funny.
it'll just be like
genius.
It'll be like 6 dudes compliment you, and it's like it's a spoof on a gangbang where each guy comes up and says something nice, or one of them is your boyfriend washes the dishes before you come home from work, and it's just him washing the dishes, and he has so many hits, and he was invited to like these porn awards.
I love that. See, I love that.
And I was like, dude, he blazed his own trail.
Yeah.
I explained to people because it went against so much of the thinking that I grew up with to put yourself out there. But I'm like, dude, I was vlogging when I was in Colombia, and I just haven't had the time to edit everything. And like when I'm there, I'm with, are just like, you're going to videotape the whole time. And I go, dude, people watch this. People watch you just
do nothing,
eating food. People watch streamers. Well, is it something I would ever do? Never. That doesn't mean I can't profit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched a lot of dudes I worked with sell their bodies and become broken down old men. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel for them. And I remember working on a job site, and I'm up rigging, and I'm like 100 feet off the floor. And I'm looking at all these older guys, and they're all limping. And it looked like a scene from Dawn of the Dead. I was like, I don't want to end up a crippled old man emotionally and physically. And I'll do whatever I got to do not to do that.
Yeah.
And if that means I take videos of me walking down the street, I'm going to take videos of me walking down the street. You know, if it means I get to be happy, that's what I care about. But
I agree.
Shit, we've gone on for a while.
I know. I can't believe it's 10 o'clock.
I know. I'll wrap up. Jamie, you have anything to... Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This was really fun. Anything you want to promote? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so go to Jamie Lee Comedy pretty much anywhere. It's JAIME. And I have my main accounts with like the more followers. I'm trying to turn into like my backup accounts because I'm shadow banned. So there's the Jamie Lee Comedy as well. So I'd appreciate if you guys followed those ones.
Damn you, Facebook.
And it's both of those as well for OnlyFans. I have a free page and a paid page.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Check out Jamie, and thanks for coming on. This was fantastic.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I had a great time.
See ya. With a hood, with a hood, with a hood, yeah.